Buongiorno. How are we all doing today on this glorious sunny oh my god, sun day? Absolutely boiling hot, ladies and gents, boiling hot. How you doing, Triggered? Hope you're triggered by the weather. Oh, triggered. Mate, I am melting. So I literally I think we had about 10-15 minutes to go, and I was like, do you know what, I didn't email Jake or Ace yet. What an absolute prat. Oh, Jake says join the back. Oh, I was gonna say Jake is in my back end. Ooh. On that note, well.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, mate? Oh my god, it's just ridiculously hot. It's not natural.
I could hardly sleep last night. I felt physically ill when I got up this morning. I hate it when it's hot.
Yep, you and me both. I'm not a fan. You just literally lay there. I mean, it's a sight, isn't it? It's stark naked, and you're like, I'm still hot. I need to take my skin off.
Yeah, exactly what it's like. Yeah. The only thing you can really do is just wash your hands. Your wrists under really cold water. That will cool you down.
I normally just put cold over my head and put a cold flannel around the back of my neck, so anything going up towards my head, it'll cool me blood down or something. It's absolute. How's it going? It's not going anywhere, mate. It's bloody hot. Did you see my photo thing I put up? Look, everyone. I put a photo up and I used it in a video. If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know.
I've done the video and I've done a picture. I had to do a video because that Ava Santina saying like, "Oh no, there's no Islamic takeover." I found a video on X with the bloke saying like, "Yes, when we take over the West, you will pay a tax, you will pay your jizya, or we kill you." Look, they literally admit it, and Ava Santina is denying it on their behalf. Absolutely ridiculous.
Ava. We all know what love.
But I was really chuffed. So yeah, I put a photo up with a post. I'm gonna just keep showing it because I love it. I'll tell you, I'm so funny. I've been inspired by Katie Hopkins, I think. So how you doing, Lisa? Hope you're well today. Oh, Ace is in the back end. Hello, Ace.
Hello. How are you today?
Yeah, a bit of a headache because of the heat, to be honest. I don't know what it's like for everyone else, but in Pompey it is really humid and I'm just, it sounds gross, but sweating one out basically. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. So did you see my little thing? Did you see that?
What little thing? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Can you see it? Well, my trousers are still up. I'm on screen.
Alan's? What's that about?
Think about it.
Alan. Oh, I'm dyslexic. I'm probably not the best one to try and work this out.
Go on, Jake. Tell her.
What is it, Ace?
It's a gold bar.
What's it say on it?
Bar.
It said what, sorry?
Snack bar.
Oh, wait. Hang on.
The penny drops.
Wait, no, I don't think it has. I'm still, my brain is lagging because I really don't get on well with heat.
Me neither.
You might want to email me that one because it might not be appropriate for.
Oh no, it's very.
I can. It says ALANS. Allen's.
Yeah.
McVitie's Allen's.
No, Alan's snack bar.
Alan's snack bar.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I know.
Have you never said Alan's snack bar instead of Alarak bar?
No, I've always said since David Wood came out with the Al Zut story, I've gone to Al Zuthu Akbar because Allahu Akbar means God is great. So replace God with Al Zut, and that's us saying the Zut are great. So I think that one's my favourite personally. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone says Alan Snack Bar instead of Allah Akbar. So I've done a picture and I actually coloured it in and called it Alan's, so everyone knows it's a snack bar called Alan.
I have
Alan Snack
never
Bar.
heard that one, but that's great. I love it.
That one
Oh,
bombed
dear.
like an Islamic extremist.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I'd want to put. I'm not sure I'd want to put something in my mouth that's got Islam potentially painted all over it. However, I'm just going to say that out loud.
Well, I'm old-fashioned. I unwrap it and then eat it.
That would be.
Alan, that's my chocolate bar. Alan's. Nice one, Alan.
Now,
What's that
speaking
trigger?
Speaking of things that are horrible, I saw yesterday a video with Based and Bougie, who I know we'll be looking at today, but it was about her at the march last weekend, and watching it just made me so glad that I wasn't there, because it just looked like hell to me. It just looked like loads of people crushed together, horrible, sweaty, you don't know who is there, getting pushed around by people, lots of standing around where you haven't got a clue what's going on. And I would imagine generally a sense of expectancy, and yet nothing actually ever happens. And that's why I wouldn't go to something like that. I do like that kind of thing, but just watching that though, it even just the video made me feel claustrophobic, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't get on well with like lots of people tightly packed together. I'd feel like a sardine in a can.
Yeah.
Not that I can possibly comprehend what that feels like, because I'm not a sardine.
No.
But I should imagine that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's bloody hot watching Katie Hopkins last night. They had all the fire exits.
I was going to ask, how was it? How was it?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm debating. I've done some videos on the way there and on the way back, and then I was going to sort of do a little review of the show, but I don't know. I was in an hour and
do it. Do it. It would be great content. Everyone is really starting to actually listen to Katie's message. And whether I liked her or not, back in the day, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, she was very anti-trans. And I explained my point on that yesterday. You know, as I've aged and I've understood women's rights more, maybe than when I was younger, I've seen the safety risks. And she's been speaking about that for the last 10 to 15 years. So my opinion has actually completely changed, and I've got a lot of respect for her.
And we must also remember the previous incarnation of Katie Hopkins was very much a persona and not who she actually really is.
Yeah, not her authentic self,
Yeah, she was brilliant. She was so funny. But it was good, though, because I didn't realise it. Before I knew it, it was 9:30. It was like, wow, she's gone. And she was gone in a 4x4 before we even got outside. She was gone, mate. So
yeah, that's probably down to security, because she's quite a high-profile figure now, isn't she? So
yeah, without doubt. Well, yeah, they had 5
I don't know about you,
outside.
but, if I had a 6'6" wizard coming after me, I think I'd want a load of security around as well, and I'd make a start.
Yep. I'll tell you what, though. How you doing? I had a woman behind me all night, and when we finished, I stood up and we're walking out. And then she's like, "Oh, I like your hair." I was like, "Oh, thanks." She said it reminded me of Avatar.
Oh my god!
Like, what? Wizard, Viking? You said Avatar. I was like, "Oh, what?"
I guess that shows her knowledge on history. If the first thing that comes to her mind is Avatar over Vikings. I mean, look at your beard. I've never seen an avatar with one of those on its face. Have you?
Oh no, exactly. I mean. Bloody Avatar. She goes, I sat behind you all day. She was quite short, so I was like, oh my god, I felt a bit bad. I thought, I wonder, because it was sold out, so I don't know if she could look round me or something. And we sat there, and she's about, I don't know, she's probably about 5'2". But yeah, bloody, it's good night. I tell you, it was one of those nights. I don't know if the Dazzler's here or not. He's not here yet, but I tell you, it was one of those things. I was quite, you know, especially with like depression and that. I was trying to think of excuses not to go. And he sent an email saying like, "Oh, you deserve a night out and that." And I thought, do you know what? I probably need to try this. Do you know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I did. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Even the ferry journey there was entertaining. Like a meter up in the sky, then a meter below, like because of a big blooming cargo bloody ship. Oh mate, I was like, but I enjoyed it.
Just-
so yeah, but
Just a quickie. Might sound a bit of an odd thing to say. Olga, just read your comment. I'm not a very peoply person, which is ironic as I work with autism and mental health. My darling, thank you for helping to serve this country and the people in it. Thank you. Without people like you, people that really need that help won't get it because there's no one there to give it to them. So thank you.
People like Pouncy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm potentially autistic and ADHD myself. Actually awaiting diagnosis. So,
And
it's. Well, I was bi, and then I kind of just realised I don't really find myself attracted to men, and then I kind of realised I'm gay. So, yeah, but you know, it's a life experience that unfolds day by day. It's the same for everyone. No one knows what's coming tomorrow. I could wake up tomorrow and something massive has changed in my mind that I decide to go and become a nun and not sleep with anyone. Who knows? Like, we don't know what's going to unfold. So
you just don't know. But you're racking quite a list there. It's a good list to have because then you can use it against the left.
Yeah, I have in various conversations with lefties said, so how would you view me being the fact that I'm lesbian, potentially autistic, potentially ADHD, and I support right-wing politics? And they don't know how to respond.
No, they don't. No, in fact, I wrote a letter to the left explaining all the things that I think they don't get. And you can find it on my Substack page and read it there. Just
brilliant.
In because I haven't put anything on there for a while.
Yeah, sounds great. But something interesting came up today. The whole idea of wokeness or wokeism or just woke actually came from Adolf Hitler. So thanks, Adolf.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, he was really kind of the person that was pushing wokeness because he was allying with sides that would get him into a position where he didn't, like the Muslims, they get themselves into a position where they then don't need to listen to the majority authority, if you like. And then they just do what they want. That's exactly how Hitler behaved. So theoretically, he kind of invented wokeness
as a strategy, rather.
As a strategy, yeah.
Woke.
Unholy coalitions is basically what wokeness is.
Well, that is how he did manage to get in. Yes, he managed to get in through the back door, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
They were giving out the old thingies last night as well. Restore Britain flyers.
Brilliant.
So it's cushy, yeah.
I'm so glad that we've got big names on our side that are really pushing the narrative for Rupert because, like, it's such a brutal world with the media today. There's been another interview with Farage as of like yesterday, where he's now saying that the fallout between him and Rupert isn't his fault; it's Rupert's fault. It's just smear after smear after smear. So I'm so glad that we've got these big names on the side of Rupert using their platform to help change the country. That's so important right now. So,
well, a politics job isn't really to go around shit stirring, is it? It's to put forward policies that people want to vote for and to encourage support from them. It's not to put out now influence people about their opinion to do with somebody. But let's not
100%.
The task that is ahead, that Rupert has one seat at the moment and needs another 325 if he's going to gain power, and it's probably not going to happen, so he is going to need a coalition of some sort in the future. And I think if he's going to go with anybody, he's more likely to go with the Conservatives, as that is what his background actually is, and he is a Thatcherite.
Yeah.
Might in fact be the best thing for the country, because yes, we had 14 years of them doing absolutely bugger all and lining their pockets, etc. We all know that. But traditionally, this country has always been conservative leaning, regardless of having a few periods of Labour in power. It has almost always been conservative leaning since we've had a parliament. And it does have that tradition, like I say, that goes right throughout the English history. And I think it's the only way forward. And I think the Tories have completely disgraced themselves, and it's up to them now to try and get the public to trust in them again by showing us that they do believe in our country.
I think the other...
Just one last thing. The one thing that they've got that Reform don't have and Restore don't have is they've got the experience, they've got the leadership, they've already got people in positions of power who understand the system. That's what we really change the system, which is a long-term project that is going to take many, many decades to complete.
Yeah, I think the other great benefit of Restore, whether they win or not, is that they're helping to keep Reform on the right of politics, because Reform seem to be trying to win over the left, and I think that's very dangerous, personally.
I think it makes strategical sense from their perspective, though, because they're looking at scooping up the Labour voters who have lost faith in Labour, so they want to attract people from the left, so they get as many votes as possible. So that does make perfect sense for them. But obviously, if you're somebody who's more from the right and you see them making that shift, then that's going to put you off, and it's going to put you more towards Restore. Although, again, we must remember Restore at the moment is only a fringe movement. It doesn't have national support. And we also don't know how popular it's going to be in the north until we see the by-election that's coming up. Because at the moment, we know that there's support in the southeast, specifically the Great Yarmouth area. But even in the next ward over, which is my ward, he wouldn't have got the support because they voted in the Greens and the Liberal Democrats. So it's going to take time for him to get his message out there. And I really do hope that his message does get out there and that people vote for him, because I think that's what I'd like to see. But realistically, I think a coalition with the Conservatives is probably the best move forward with what we know at the moment. And of course, there's a lot can change in the next few years.
Yeah. It's very worrying times, but there's definitely hope there. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, really. But I am genuinely worried about Reform. I think Farage is a snake. He has said all sorts of things. He basically listens to what he thinks the public wants to hear and then regurgitates it. And then in private interviews, he says the exact opposite. So when he's then back in the public eye, he's back then spewing what he thinks the public want to hear.
Yeah.
But a lot of us... Go on.
If you want more of the same, in the general election, vote for Reform, because they are globalists. And the root of the problem is this globalist ideology that came in through Blair and through the EU that we need to get rid of, purge ourselves of, and never let anywhere near our parliament ever again.
Well, at this stage, they're only Boris Johnson away from being the old Conservative Party at full force anyway. So, yeah, it's like Conservatives 2.0, but with basically just a rebranding. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and is Restore really that different from the Conservative views?
Yes, absolutely. If you read their policies,
I'm not sure they're that different in their intent. I haven't looked at their policies. No, I can't be.
Go and read their policies, and you might start to see the differences between Tories and Restore.
Yeah, but what are they though? So that I don't have to go and read it.
Well, I'm not here to educate you. I'm not here to educate everyone else. Your education is your responsibility, not mine.
Yeah.
So, like I said, go and read the policies, make up your own minds. If that's something you think you agree with, great, vote for it. But if it's not, then, well, I guess we'll see where we end up. But personally, I do see quite a few differences between their policies. Don't take my words for it, because that's not going to educate you. Go and educate yourself. That way you make up your own minds. You see for yourself without Chinese whispers about what the policies are. Go and find them yourself, make your decision, and then vote at the ballot box accordingly. So, yeah.
I'm not going to do that until it's the general election.
Well, it'd be a bit too late by then, Jake, won't it?
No, that's the time to do it, because that's when you go and vote. There's too much time. Well, there might not be if there's an emergency one, in which case then we will do it. But I'm not going to decide who I'm going to vote for. I'm going to decide at the time who I'm going to vote for.
Okay, but we're not just looking at the general election, are we? Because all the local elections affect the general. So if you want to really have an impact on the general, we need to really be focusing on local elections. To focus on local elections, you need to be looking at Restore's policies to know whether that's something you locally support. People seem to think that the local elections and the generals are not actually tied together. They are very much tied together.
This is true, but we just had a local election and Restore didn't have anybody to represent in my area, so I couldn't vote for them.
Yeah, that is the problem. Obviously, they're a very new party. They're still at the point of getting these candidates. And unlike Farage, which I've got a lot of respect for, Rupert's actually vetting these people. He would rather take his time and do it the right way. It's better to measure twice and cut once. That's Rupert's philosophy. It's clear as day. He's not just, grab this person, grab that person, grab that person. These people are actually being vetted. Farage hasn't vetted the majority of the people that are in, because, well, they were all Tories, so he doesn't see the need to vet them, despite the fact that, what's that guy's name? The bald one with glasses, he was heavily involved with, certain contracts during COVID, and I find the whole thing absolutely disgusting, to be honest with you. But go and look at their policies, make up your minds, guys. Don't let other people tell you what those policies are, because they may have misunderstood them. You don't know. Go and read it for yourself, make up your own minds. Local elections definitely affect the generals. And unless we're all knowledgeable and educating ourselves, this country's going to stay in the same position.
And you end up with Liberal Democrats and 6 different bins.
I think I'd move country at that point.
No, it's not the Greens that you're thinking, though. It's not the David Paulden, Zach Palansky version of This is the proper middle-class, wealthy, I'm so kind and loving Greens. That they're even worse in that regard, because they think they're right about everything.
Yeah, but you can say that about any party. The right think they're right about everything. The left think it's part of being human and having an opinion, isn't it?
There is
some people.
Go on. That there is an objective truth when it comes to being right or wrong, and I think that the objective truth about the left is that they are wrong, whereas the right are in the right. So I think should the left believe that they are in the right, though, that much I will concede.
And this, so objective truth is actually subjective. And what I mean by that is it's the common consensus that defines the objective truth. Whether or not that truth is real and actually true, I mean, you've only got to look at history. Every time a conquering nation went a-conquering, they didn't just conquer the country, they wiped that culture from history. So therefore, the only objective truth that became available was what was left for us to read in the future. So objective truth, in my opinion, is kind of subjective to the common consensus of the information we have available today. If that information changes tomorrow, so does the objective truth. So, but again, it's all down to common consensus, in my opinion, but that might not be strictly true. I have a very unique way of looking at things, so yeah.
You would agree, for example, that the alphabet is an objective truth, in that everybody
Correct.
letters have objectivity to them. Therefore,
True.
That would defeat your argument if we were to go down that avenue.
Not really, because our objective truth of the alphabet is different to the Greek objective truth of the alphabet, is different to the Arabic objective truth of the alphabet. We have our own objective truth, they have theirs, because there's difference in languages. You can apply that all over the board, but again, that's my opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right. That's just how I see it.
Ian would agree that the letter A represents A.
Say that again, buddy.
Even an Arabian would admit that the letter A represents A. So it would be objective.
Yeah, but the definitions of things are different for different cultures, right? So, I mean, religion as an example. Probably the.
But some things aren't, though, is the point that I'm making.
Yeah, but you can change objective truth by pushing a narrative. If more and more and more people take that narrative, the objective truth changes. So therefore, objective truth is subjective. It all depends on the common consensus at that point in time. Yeah, I mean, if the common consensus never changes, then sure, that objective truth will stay the same for, eternity. But objective truth changes over time based on common consensus. That's the way I see it. I mean, again, we all see things differently. So, yeah. But
no, I understand what you mean, but I think that there are objective truths that are not subjective. And the alphabet is one such example. But look at what fun we have on bank holiday Sunday afternoons.
Yep. But that's what I love. That's what I love about channels like this, is that we get the opportunity to talk to like-minded individuals and expand our consciousness and have these really, really important conversations, because at the end of the day, it's people like us that help change the course of the direction of this country.
Yes.
It really is. It's down to the people. So I'll go back to my original point. Go and educate yourselves, because education is absolutely paramount. If we don't know what's going on, we're powerless to change it. That's all I can say. I would advocate for education over everything at this point in time.
I wouldn't waste the time.
Really?
Don't bother getting yourself educated. Obviously.
What? Don't go and bother learning about Islam. How does that help us?
I would agree, having worked as a teacher for so long and being currently in the education system in a way.
So, wait, can you restate your position there, Jacob? I'm not sure I quite got that. Say that again, buddy.
I was being sarcastic, Ace.
Oh, that's probably why I didn't get it then. Sarcasm goes right over my head. I know how to be sarcastic, but I really don't pick it up. So this is, again, one of the things. I'm sure I'm on the spectrum, because it's a very common thing. We know how to be sarcastic. We just don't see it when it's being said to us. It's quite a strange paradox, but yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And good as well, I think, when we can have things where we don't agree. Or not, no, let me put it a different way. Not necessarily don't agree, where our perspectives don't necessarily align. Because you can look at where the disruption to that is. You can see where you might think one thing, you might think something else, and you can talk about these things, and you can try and see whether or not what you're saying has some value, and perhaps you might change the way you're thinking, perhaps you might have your way of thinking changed.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I take part in these sorts of conversations, because, I don't know everything. I've got my education on certain things, and I can help educate people with things that I've picked up along the way, but I don't know it all. There are going to be people that I'm going to learn far more from by having a conversation than by not having that conversation. So, like I say, Wiz, every time you have me on, thank you for this, because it really, really is important that we keep these conversations going. Yeah.
It's all good.
Absolutely. There's so many people out there who are in similar positions, who want to have conversations, don't have the opportunity to have those conversations, maybe they don't feel that they want to come and have those conversations with other people, but they might like to just listen to them, and that's just as good as well. And it's great to see people who contribute to this through the chat.
Big shout out to all those in chat, by the way. Hello. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday
roast.
Oh God, quite literally.
Yeah, we're the roasted. Blimey, heck. Blimey. Oh, Phil made me laugh. He said, "Oh, I was cooking sausages and I run out of blooming, you run out of sauce." So I thought he'll have to go do that, come back, and then he'll have to catch up, won't he? Sorry, had to be done. But that's not very manly, is it? Red sauce. Let's be honest. Brown sauce, mate.
I don't like either.
I love me a bit of brown sauce.
I don't like either of them. In fact, ketchup, the smell of it makes me feel physically ill.
What about if it was like homemade tomato sauce? Because obviously with the ketchup you get out of shops, it's got so much vinegar in it. It's ridiculous.
I think that's what it is. I hate... Oh, hold on. Someone at the door.
Okie dokie.
Oh, the Muslims have heard about him.
Hey, Robert. Oh, wow. You're in Ohio. Really sorry to see what's going on in America at the moment. You guys seem to be absolutely getting hounded with data centers left, right, and center. Just the people that aren't aware and think, oh, data centers, what's the problem? The data center that's going to be built in Utah will dump the equivalent of 23 atomic bombs in heat into the atmosphere every single day. Not year, day. 23 atomic bombs worth of heat every day. I want to know how America thinks it's got the right to do this, because it affects the whole world.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can Google it. 23... One atomic bomb puts out 7,700 Kelvin of heat. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. When an atomic bomb was detonated in the desert, it turned sand to glass. That's how hot it is. So 23 atomic bombs worth of heat every single day coming out of Utah. That's really, really dangerous. You need to not feel the impact of the heat of an atomic bomb. You need to be well over 64 miles away. 64 miles. If an atomic bomb was dropped on London, that shockwave from the heat would reach Portsmouth.
Wow.
That's terrifying. And they're building data centers that are putting out the level of heat of 23 atomic bombs a day. I really can't. Yeah, I really cannot understand why they think this is a good idea. I mean, the amount of water these things use to cool down, alongside dry cooling, which is where they use fan systems to kind of move the air to try and cool it. I mean, what's going to be the condition of that water when it re-enters the system for human consumption? I dread to think.
Well, my mum...
Pipe bands come in, look, thanks to Dylan.
Oh, yeah. My mum is from Suffolk, and she grew up in the area around Leiston, where Sizewell Nuclear Power Station is. And she said they used to go out swimming there because they used to pump out the hot water from the nuclear power station, and it was...
Oh, my God. Are you 100% serious?
Yeah.
That's like going swimming in a swimming pool full of nuke cola for anyone who's played Fallout.
Yeah, but the water doesn't actually touch any of the nuclear elements. It goes around them.
It absorbs the radiation, though. That's the point. Like, it doesn't need to touch it. It absorbs it because radiation irradiates. So, you know, like sound, it travels in a bubble outwards from the center point and infects everything it touches.
Well, I have always wondered why she glows at night. That would explain it.
Indeed. Wow, he used to pump out the heated water. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all very well us laughing about that now, but they didn't know that back then. So, you know, scientists in 50 years are going to be looking at us like a bunch of idiots because of what's going on with AI at the moment. It's genuinely terrifying. And they're going to look. Go on, mate.
I was referring to the late 60s. So yes, people's knowledge wasn't what it would be later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
As for AI, I think that just we have to remember that the technology that we have is about 20 years behind what the actual
They have.
Yeah. So
ask yourself this one question, right? If AI really isn't a danger, then why are the people that are running and building these AIs now all starting to build underground bunkers?
For shielding of the data so that it doesn't get stolen.
No, personal bunkers, like survival bunkers. Why are they building survival bunkers?
Don't know why.
On these.
Tell me, I've no idea.
Well, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. You're going to call me a conspiracy theorist, but Bill Gates has been recorded saying that the population of the planet needs to be reduced by 7 billion. That's like the majority of the planet, by the way. He's got his fingers in pies all over the planet. There's these really weird videos coming out. Yeah, there's these really weird videos coming out the States where helicopters are being filmed dropping off boxes in random fields, and now there's this random tick infestation where people are left not being able to eat red meat. Oh, well, that's convenient for Bill Gates, isn't it? Because guess what else he produces? Biofoods.
2 questions for you, Ace.
Go on, mate.
Firstly, how do you know he said that, and where and when did he say that? And secondly, how do you know that the videos that you've seen are real and not AI generated?
Well, they're far too blurry to be like that. It's clearly filmed on someone's camera. You can hear them talking. You can see birds flying. You can tell the difference between, if you've got a good eye, you can tell the difference between AI and not AI. Maybe it's getting harder because AI is becoming very convincing. Think
about it, what we just said. The AI that we can use
is 20 years behind. Yeah, 100%, mate.
And we can spot it quite easily these days. But if something is coming from up at a higher level, Bill Gates, for example, will have the 20 years in time technology. He could put out any video of anything he likes and people would believe it. That's why we should always think about these things critically. Because today, in the information era that we live in, it is becoming increasingly impossible to tell what is actually real and what isn't.
Yeah, the Bible. Sorry, guys, a little bit of a Bible rant. The Bible states that in the end times, truth will be called lies, and lies will be called truth, and we are very much in that point in time.
Yes, I've seen people arguing this quite a lot recently. I would know, but people were saying exactly the same thing during the Cold War. They said it during World War II. They said it during World War One. They've said it throughout history. And it hasn't happened. Now, that's not to say it's going to happen, and it's not to say that it isn't happening now. But I think it's probably more of a reaction to the society that we're experiencing, more than it is a divine prophecy. But that's
I just find it quite odd that when you want to look at the Bible, the amount of prophecies that have come true.
Have they come true though? Or is it just a subjective reading of it? That's the thing. Because to one person something can mean one thing, and to another person it can mean something completely different. It's impossible to verify.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Shall we get on with the video? That was a good little debate to start the day, wasn't it?
Are over for today.
Yeah, because I know it's so hot. I don't know. I bet people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to hang around forever." But I decided because this video, I think it's like, was it 12 minutes? So I thought, right, I didn't do the other video or nothing because where it's so hot and all that, I thought people ain't gonna want to sit around and do too much for too long, are they? And I know what we're like once we get nattering. Do you know what I mean? But
I would say before it starts, just think about how Piers begins his questioning of Sintish, as we learn her name is, because think about the way people normally would do it. You would introduce them, you tell a bit about them, you perhaps might ask them something about what they've been up to. You generally use have an introduction.
Sorry.
Oh, here.
Did you hear that? I brought up the volume button and I hit play. Did you hear that?
We could hear it, yeah.
Oh, that's right then. Yeah. All right. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I pressed the wrong button. My bad. Right. Yeah. What you were saying before I rudely interrupted you?
Well, I don't know if it'll actually show it in this clip now. I've said all of that, but normally you would introduce a guest over, you'd give them some form of introduction to present them to your audience. And he didn't do that during this interview. He went straight in for difficult questions to make her look a particular way. And I think I just wanted to make people aware of that before they see this, because he's obviously come on here with that strategy in mind. It's completely deliberate. He's not reacting to something that she does.
Right. So he's actually already got his own preset agenda narrative type scenario already.
Yes. And I also think that Ava has as well, because of what she does.
Right. I've been tagging her in a few of my ex posts that prove like Muslims saying that they want to take over, just so she knows. I'm sure she's ignoring them. But yeah, like say later, this is only 12 minutes. We're going to watch it, obviously, and stop it and whatever and say what we want to say. And then once it's all said and done, if you want to call in and have your say, you can do. And if not, we'll just say what we say, and then we'll all be buggering off to go and get sunburn or something, I suppose. Happy days.
Going back to bed.
So, yeah. Oh, mate. Oh, it's just going to get hotter and hotter, though. I tell you, if you didn't sleep last night, you won't sleep during the day, surely. You'll be like,
Good.
But right, ladies and gents, this is Piers Morgan with his set narrative and agenda, according to Jake. So this should be interesting. And straight away, I'm looking at this. I've got a feeling, especially that, what's his name? Yank, Yuga, whatever, and Ava. They're both idiots. They're the Hamas are freedom fighters. They're lovely people, type people. So let's see anyway.
In my country is committed by white men.
Oh, here we go. You've never heard of per capita.
I have heard of per capita.
It's disproportionately committed by Muslims against white Christian girls because it's a rape genocide.
Right, let me bring Cenk in. Cenk.
Yeah. All right. So there's a couple of layers of this. First of all, the idea that Sharia law is about to take over London, or here in America, Oklahoma keeps passing laws as if the Sharia law is about to take over Tulsa. This is all demagoguery, and it's super obvious, especially in America where Muslims are a tiny, tiny minority. So the reason why people push that forward is because they want people to hate Muslims. Now, why do they want people to hate Muslims? How come there's no propaganda against Buddhists or Hindus, right? And please don't start it. Yeah, I don't want propaganda against anyone. But the reason why there's overwhelming propaganda against Muslims in the West, actually, they did it to the Rohingya in Myanmar. So it's not about religion, guys. Buddhists do it, Jews do it, Muslims do it, Christians do it. There's people who abuse other folks all across the world from all the different religions. You mentioned shunning women who leave the religion, or shunning anyone who leaves the religion. The Mormons do that. So you talk about, oh my God, how do they treat their wives? And they expect them to be traditional.
Not fond of Mormons.
There's literally a concept called trad wives here. Yeah, there's a concept called trad wives in America. So you can insult everybody's religion if you want, but the most important part is, why are they doing this? And there's a politics behind it. In fact, there's people paying for it. The Israelis pay people in the UK and the US to spread hatred towards Muslims so that the UK and the US will finance Israel and their war crimes and there are wars against Muslims.
Actually, check.
It's totally on purpose.
It can actually be easier than that. I mean, Keith, for example, you shared a video to your very large online audience with the caption, "This is a town council meeting in England, not Afghanistan. I shit you not." And you use the footage to push a narrative that British local government institutions have been completely overrun and dominated by foreign Islamic interests. The very point you've been making to me. But it turned out the footage was of a meeting in Pakistan. And you then took that down, right? So would you like to apologize for a
I did take it down, but it was a repost.
Have you apologized?
I took it down. It was wrong, yeah.
You apologized?
Of course I apologized. If it was wrong, yeah.
Okay, good. Why did you post it without checking?
Several people have posted. You know, that's the problem with social media. Sometimes we try to be too quick and rather than accurate, and that was a mistake on my part. I don't have a problem owning a mistake. So yeah, I took the post down as soon as I realized it was wrong. But the difference in, you know, as I see it and all these things you're pointing out about the different religions, there's a reason why we don't see almost no Muslim girls in the rape statistics in Britain is because it's a religiously motivated rape jihad against Christians by these predominantly Pakistani Muslim men. You don't find the white man, you don't find the white man in Britain raping Muslim girls as some sort of religious targeting, because the reason they don't rape their own girls is because that would be haram. So they go outside of their religion because that's considered all right, because we know what the Quran says about sex slaves and all those things outside your religion. It's just made up.
This is just
made up.
Well, let me bring Ava Santina back in. Let me bring Ava Santina back in here.
In your mind, you probably want to do it. That's why you put it. You project it on the Muslims because your sick mind thinks that that's a fun thing to do. We don't think that's a fun thing to do. You think it's a fun thing to do because you're a sick individual.
You're an idiot.
What was it?
Oh wow, that was as effective.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Che. What did you say?
Yours was super effective too.
Check. What was the point you made?
So what happens? Hold on. What happens all the time with anti-Muslim hatred is projection. So, for example,
I'm not
Israelis talking about Muslims rape.
I like Muslims who like me. I don't like Islam.
Hold on. Shut up. Hey, bigot.
You shut up.
Shut up.
You shut up.
Shut your mouth.
What you gonna do?
Okay.
What you gonna do?
So no, it's my question. It's my question. Okay, so this bigot comes on here and makes up this fantasy he has in his head about Muslims raping white women because he wants to rape women and he thinks that's a fun thing to do. So he projects it on the Muslims.
I can't. No, check.
That's because he's a sick.
No, check. I'm sorry. No, hang on, Don. Check. You cannot say that. Sorry. There is absolutely no evidence that he wants to rape people. Right? And let's be clear about...
Well, there's no evidence that Muslims want to do it either, but he just made it up.
No.
Wow.
I mean, he should be kicked off the stage for that. And
you'd think, but no, because he's from the ethnic minority.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you would think that if Piers was being responsible here, he would say, what you've just said has gone way too far. Off you go, and you're not coming back on my show again. That's what I would have said to him, because what he said was unacceptable. It's completely out of order. It's completely untrue as well. And essentially, what he is saying is that this guy wants to rape Muslim women, but he's projecting that onto Muslims doing it to white people. It's completely unacceptable. And the way that he lost his temper there just goes to show that it touched a raw nerve, because everybody knows that it's true.
Yep. I don't know what his angle is. I don't get it. I
think his angle is just shit, I think.
Yeah, I think he's trying to, as always, like he does, he tries to make a name for himself, but try to get the anger and this would go viral. This is all about me. He's one of them people.
Yeah.
So.
And also just trying to do a deflection back onto white people who statistically rape in greater numbers. It would be his argument, but we've already discussed the per capita argument, and we know that isn't true. We also know that from the grooming gang reports that have been released, that the data that we do have clearly shows a pattern that overwhelmingly shows that Pakistanis are committing these atrocities at a rate much higher than any other demographic in this country.
Yep, and there's videos of it. Even women say, oh, my husband or my son or something, she says. So it's out there to rape the women because it's a good thing. Like, I'm proud. What? You're proud of your husband or your son raping white women? I don't get it.
Well, there's no such thing as rape, is there? That's the thing. In their culture, it doesn't exist. Because if it's somebody that they believe if they've taken in war, you know, as the right hand does possess, they can do whatever they like with them. Even if they marry them, they can do what they like with them.
Are you guys able to hear me?
We are now.
You are now, right? I think. Yeah, I was wearing a headset and I think the mic stopped working. The one thing I would say is I wouldn't deplatform these people. Why? Because a very famous man in history once said, "Do not interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake." What this allows by giving these people a platform is it exposes their hypocrisy, it exposes their lies, it exposes their true feelings and what their actual intentions are. How? Because of the way they behave in the public eye. This is more damaging to them. Giving them the airtime is more damaging to them than not giving them the airtime. Despite what he's saying, I definitely don't agree with it.
You might change your mind when you see the rest of it.
Yeah, but again, without this being on Piers Morgan, we wouldn't be able to see this. So without him being given a platform to spew out his hatred, that gives us the opportunity to, oh, wait a second, these guys aren't who they say they are at all. Because we only know this because we're getting the opportunity to observe it right in front of our faces. Deplatforming these people is the worst thing that we could do. We're silencing them.
I would disagree with this particular gentleman, though, because he's done this far too many times. We know exactly what he is, and none of us need to hear from him ever again.
It doesn't mean we agree with them, 100%, Jake. Absolutely. I do not agree with a single word coming out of his mouth. However, there are going to be people that don't know who this guy is. Like, I only realised who this guy was through GB News maybe a couple of months ago. He's not been on my radar until recently.
The reason I say about later because of the way that Piers addresses a guest later on compared with how he's addressing the guest here, I think is quite significant. But obviously you don't know the later on bits, so I'm speaking from, you know, a place where I already know that. So we'll see what you think.
Douglas Murray destroyed him as well, literally destroyed him. So, you know, the Turkish treat, was it the Turkish thing he's on, isn't it? Some
Turkish thing.
And it's with that, what's her name? Anna Kasparian or something. It's with her, and she talks a load of drib.
I know that he appears a lot on a show that's MERDI. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. It's on YouTube. They've got a channel. I think they're like a news outlet in the East or something. He also he's also appeared talking with. He's been interviewed by Al Jazeera. So yeah, we don't have to agree with him, but silencing him, I think that's more dangerous because. And yes, there are going to. I noticed Slim put in the comments, you know, I might be underestimating the amount of idiots out there. That's probably true. And there are people that will probably believe him. But the people that actually matter in this country are going to have the common sense that we know he's not telling the truth. So
can I just mention a comment here from CL that's really important, where he's given a verse there about silence and consent, and it reminded me of a particularly grueling listen whilst listening to the Grooming gang inquiries. There was an account where somebody said words that were along the lines of they do it with the British girls because they scream, and it reminded me exactly of that quote there, that the Muslim girls are silent and that means they're consensual, whereas the white girls scream, so that only encourages them even more. And it's just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And hearing people
unless we hear it in public, we're never going to know that that's what they actually think. So Doesn't mean we have to agree with them, though. 100%. I do not agree with what he's come out with in the public eye. But
I don't think he agrees with what he's saying either. I think he's just saying it to generate some publicity for himself and try and create a viral moment that never actually happened.
yeah, like an agitator. Yeah.
That's what I think.
I just think he's a twat. Right.
Yeah, he is.
Carry on.
Just a quickie, by the way. Is Ava
Go on.
the girl that sat next to Based?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Ava Santina. She's an absolute muppet. I literally just done a video with Imam saying, you pay the jizya or we kill you. You got two good choices. And when we take over the West. So I've done that and I mentioned her in it saying, like, because she said in the previous video that Jake and I watched, I think you might have watched actually, and she said that there's no takeover, like where you're getting the idea that Islam wants to take over. And I'm like, that's what Ava was saying, idiot. She's deluded. She's an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for her to ban me on X. 'Cause I've tagged her in about 4 different things. And the video I put up today, I think it's only about 3 minutes, 20 seconds, but I uploaded that to X as well because it's under a certain amount of time. So I tagged her in that as well, where I call her out for being a complete twat. So go whiz. Right. Anyway, so hopefully she'll start talking in a minute because he's just about to call her in, isn't he? This is going to be shocking. I bet I'll hit pause before one of you asks me to hit pause. Let's see what happens.
Made it up. I would argue there's an exaggeration there for this reason. There was a clear.
Then I'm exaggerating. Maybe he wants to rape adult women.
No,
I don't
think
know.
he wants to.
Just adult women.
He's given no indication he wants to rape any women, right? So I think that's an outrageous thing to say. And what I would say about the point he's making.
Oh, it's an outrageous thing to say about him, but it's not outrageous to say about all Muslims.
No, but the point.
No, it's much more outrageous to say it about all Muslims. The only reason you would think it is if it's a fantasy in your head. Yeah, Don, you think about it all the time, don't you?
It's not my statistic. It's it's the British government statistic. 250,000 plus girls in the last 25 years have been raped by predominantly Pakistani Muslim men. That was Lord Malcolm Pearson in the House of Lords who said that. It was not me. So don't get mad at me. You go get mad at Lord Malcolm Pearson.
Can I just tell you this sophistry, this trick that they do? So they do it here in America with immigrants. I don't know anything about that number, but here in America, immigrants commit less crime. In fact, legalized immigrants like me, naturalized citizens like me, commit a quarter of the crime. So and a person born in America is 4 times more likely to commit crime, right? But what they do is they find 1 or 2 cases or a series of cases over 25 years, and they go, look at the number of cases. Now, if you did that with, as Piers said, with white Christians, you would have a number that is so much higher. But they don't say that, and I wouldn't say that. Does that mean all white Christians do it? Of course not. Of course not. But these guys who want to spread hatred, they go and cherry pick numbers, which are much, much worse for the native born or for white Christians. But we don't cherry pick numbers like that to blame white Christians because that's insane. If you're a white Christian, you're not responsible for the act of some stupid rapist. That's not fair to you.
Let me bring in. I want to bring in. All right. I want to bring in. All right.
As a blanket statement about all Muslims.
I want to bring the women back into the debate.
Hate Muslims,
okay.
And B, they're all serving Israel.
White men stay within their own. The difference is white men stay within their cultures. All races, pretty much for any crime you find.
That is complete. By the way, Don. That is complete nonsense. The idea that white men only rape within their own cultures. I didn't say only.
I said predominantly. Predominantly. So just hear me out. If you look
they
at
predominantly rape white women, and you think that's a good thing? You think it's a good thing that white men predominantly rape white women?
All right, you know what? I'm going to bring a woman in here because I feel increasingly
crimes in general are committed.
I'm going to say I don't like any of the tenor of what you guys are talking about. Right? Rape is the most serious sexual crime imaginable.
I agree.
And at the moment, it's getting trivialized in a pretty distasteful manner. Ava, let me bring you in here.
I agree.
Look, we're talking about this in a way which I find increasingly uncomfortable.
Can I just say, importantly, before you ask me your question, I can't find any evidence of that statistic.
No.
And I think the thing I would say, which is probably not going to go down very well, but various police forces, and actually that was one of the main reasons that the Rotherham grooming gangs exploded in the way it did, don't actually record ethnicity and race. That's a big problem in this country. So it'd be highly unlikely that you'd have been able to have that kind of data in the first place. It was announced it was given to the House of Lords by Lord Pearson.
House of Lords.
Sorry, thank you. But by Lord Pearson, but there isn't any evidence. Like it was then submitted to ministers who rejected it. So I don't think there is any evidence for that claim.
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Of course he's lying.
If someone, God forbid, raped your daughter
What
and then
the
came back
fuck?
to you and
What
said
the
to you,
fuck?
actually, let's talk about ethnicity and religion and statistics
I'm
and
just
not the
coming
fact
off
that
that-
your
I'm just
child
coming-
has
I'm
been
just-
raped.
I'm going to be offended. I chose to be offended. Ava, you fucking twat. I fucking hate her. I don't swear much, do I? But my God. Let me give an example. Like if someone turned around to me, Jake, and you said, oh, by the way, Wiz, if someone raped your daughter, fucking, what the fuck, mate? How dare you say that? My daughter. You're asking a question, weren't you?
Exactly.
Calm the fuck
She
down
doesn't
now.
even have any children.
She chose to be offended then. Fuck off, Ava.
She doesn't have children. So what right does she have to be offended?
And just the
it's a hypothetical question. It's not even something that's happened.
Exactly. But if you asked me that and said, oh, but Wiz, like if it was your daughter who was raped, blah, 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 I'd be like, well, then I'd answer the question because I know it's hypothetical and you're just trying to get to an example and you're going to, state a point. I get that. Right. But this absolute fucking retard. I can't. Fucking have a heart attack, love. Do you know what I mean? Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyone else want to say anything about that before I get banned from YouTube for swearing?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing I would point out that many people might not realise is that we did used to record ethnicity. And when we realised how bad things were looking, that's when we stopped recording ethnicity. So what she's saying is actually factually misleading.
There's something else to add to that that's even more misleading, which was, I'm sure people heard the news yesterday about the trio of Afghan rapists from my birth city of Norwich. I read in the reports that the ethnicity was recorded as white, but for those Afghans. So ethnicity itself is being used in a misleading way as well. So they're recording Afghans as white, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Afghans are not considered white. However, Arabs are. Funny enough, Arabs are actually considered white. And Afghanistan is not an it's an Arabized country. It's not originally an Arab country. It can only be an Arab country originally if it's Saudi Arabia. Anything outside Saudi is Arabized.
Afghans are also 20 to 30 times more likely to commit sexual offences, according to statistics as well. I can't remember the statistic it's from, but there is a list that is out there. I'm sure someone can find it.
There's an ancient tradition that exists in Afghan that's leaked over into Pakistan called Bachabazi, and a consequence of that is Bachaposh. If you don't know what those things are, go and do some Googling. You will be quite shocked. All we've heard about is the girls. We haven't heard about the boys just yet. And when that hits the news, I'm going to be very interested to see how Piers starts acting.
Yeah.
I'm just lost for words. I don't know what to say. That's just ridiculous. We've not even... I mean, based on Bougie, she always asks what I feel. Good questions from what I've seen of her. But, wow. For her to suddenly... She's doing exactly what that idiot Yuga was doing.
Yeah.
Because somehow with Don saying the statistics accordingly, in his head, he's saying, so you want to rape women and, you think raping's a good thing. How the crap did you come from that conclusion when I've been stating, from what he feels are real statistics?
It's an argumentative tactic called rage baiting.
Yeah, he's beyond. He's on a different level. That's he's literally the ultimate wokey. Let me choose to be offended, and then offended some more, then little bit more offended, and there's nothing there to be offended about.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, That bugged me. That did. But yeah, Ava, I just knew it.
Right?
Yeah, I'll be clipping that bit. You watch. That'll be on a short later. Literally, my headphones fell off, mate. I was fuming. I was going to.
The steam came out of your ears and blew them off.
Yeah, did, mate. I was going to throw myself on the floor and start kicking and punching and all sorts, and then I'll be on the same wavelength as him. And then I'll suddenly be hit with the realization that he's right. Said no one ever. Oh my god, absolute joke. So. Right, so I'm assuming now Based and Bougie is going to try and get this question out, but that Ava's going to twist it to, poor me, I'm a victim. Here we bloody go.
Saying about
How
the
would you feel? How would you feel?
But I'm just
These
saying
are children
about
we're talking about. Children have been raped. And rather than people just focusing on the fact that these children have been raped, they're talking about Islamophobia, racism, and all of this.
Here,
Using the example that white men rape in this country is like saying, oh my gosh, Nigerians are so much Nigerians. White men are the majority in this country. So yes, they are going to make up the statistics of men. But when we're talking about grooming gangs, yes, it is Asian Muslim men. We're not saying it's all men. We're not saying it's all men. What I'm trying to say is, if someone raped your daughter, you would not like someone to come to you talking about ethnicity, racism, Islamophobia. You would want someone to have
He is literally just given a statistic making that exact point.
At the end of the day,
Ava is responding to a statistic.
Young girls are being assaulted. Why are we talking about statistics and racism?
But that was my point earlier.
Have some compassion. Why don't you guys just sit here and say it's sad?
We are literally the ones who are having the compassion.
Just sit here and say it's sad and we need to find a way for it to stop. But you guys sit here and talk about Islamophobia and racism and statistics. Who cares? I don't care if it's one person. We should just have some flipping compassion.
But is that not the point that we're all making?
There's two reasons.
No, the point that I'm making is, why wasn't your response, this is wrong, we need to figure out a way to do it? Instead, you brought out statistics from your phone talking about, I cannot find it.
That is categorically
No, what I'm trying to say is, as a woman, have some compassion. And
no, I'm not going to have you dominate the narrative here.
If someone's telling you that young women are being assaulted, and your first yes, because you know what you're doing is disgusting and demonic. It's so demonic.
What is demonic? What are you talking about?
It's demonic.
You've just driven someone to leave the studio.
Yeah, no, she left by herself.
You made up a stat that you called it demonic.
She does not like the fact that I just drew her out for being actually quite disgusting. If someone tells you
she
that
wasn't
young
disgusting,
girls
you were the one being disgusting.
And how?
You didn't listen to her.
How?
I
listened to everything that she said.
No, you didn't.
You started talking about it when your daughter was raped. Are
she
you
was checking a claim made by another
if
panel member.
If someone tells you that a young person has been raped, I don't care if it's 5 English women or 2 English women, have some compassion and just say it's wrong.
Where did she show no compassion? What are you talking about?
When did she say in this interview that this is wrong and we need to figure out a way?
You weren't even listening to why she was saying what she was saying.
No, but what I'm
checking
trying
what
to say is, why was her first response bringing out statistics and not saying actually this is wrong?
Because another panel member made up a
statistic.
How stupid can you be?
It's not about being
stupid. You made up a statistic and then said it was demonic.
The whole far-right narrative.
The statistic wasn't made up. The statistic was not made up. It was extrapolated from data that came from Rotherham, Telford, and Oxford.
Yeah.
That same method of extrapolation is used for disease prevalence, wildlife, environmental factors. That same method of data collection is used throughout science.
Let me try and help for those who are too stupid at the back.
Piers Morgan just
Don Keith made a claim, which Ava Santina.
At the same time,
what are you talking about?
Justifying the fact that we should not have sympathy for it, and at the same time,
nobody said that. What are you talking about?
Do you have sympathy for what's going on with
nobody said that.
Do you have sympathy?
What are you doing?
Do you have sympathy for the young English girls that have been assaulted? Do you have sympathy?
Sorry.
So now you're stuttering. Now you're stuttering.
No, I haven't.
So you've just exposed yourself.
You know what? I have.
Now, what it didn't show there is that he then said to her that he wouldn't ever have her back on the show again because of her behaviour. And that's what I was referring to when I said about when the guy earlier was mouthing off and Piers does fuck all about it. You then get Ava, who walks off, which was clearly pre-planned, but is also probably the most unprofessional thing you could do as a guest. And yet he takes offence on her behalf rather than criticising her for it. And then he completely loses his temper when he's pointed out as being a fraud by Based and Bougie. Now, I think that Ava was sat there listening into the earpiece, and I think she was clearly told at which point to leave, and the whole thing was entirely made to do that. But what I think did happen is that Based and Bougie then, rather than stopping talking and letting the show continue, she then was talking over Piers, and that's why he got so angry, because she was putting him in the place. But notice he didn't say anything about the other guy not ever coming back, and nothing about Ava ever not coming back. But to Based and Bougie, he said it directly to her.
And Piers likes to constantly overtalk people. He constantly does that.
And the very first thing that he did, which I thought it would show in this clip, which is why I mentioned it, but it didn't, was at the very beginning, he showed a clip of her, and he tried to make her look stupid by, instead of giving an introduction, he said, "Why did you say British flag when you meant English flag?" And he just kept going on and on about it. So he clearly had set her up for this. But then, what do you expect from someone whose wife's putting it about here, there, and everywhere? Allegedly.
Yeah. It's I was a bit confused though, because she started saying like, oh, you're saying the figures, not saying compassion. I thought at some point someone said something about like it's not good regardless, but I don't know. Well, maybe I misheard.
My perspective of the clip as a whole is that Piers was absolutely dreadful in the whole thing. As a host, as an interviewer, for having control of his guests, he was appalling. He should not have been letting people speak over each other. He shouldn't have been having people on there shouting, "Shut up." He shouldn't have allowed people to say things about other people wanting to rape women that are clearly untrue. He shouldn't put up with people walking off his panel. And he shouldn't have lost his temper towards the end. And the reason that happened is because he allowed the leftists to get their opinion across, but yet when it came to the people on the right, he allowed those people to be effectively verbally abused, and that was acceptable. And the reason Ava got annoyed was because she went to look up a statistic and thought that she'd declared some truth, when really she's probably found out that actually it is true. And the thing that really, really wound me up, that I don't know if people heard because it was said in the background, was that fucking Turk prick said that the rape stats were made up. How dare he say that? This fucking American Turk. How dare he say that those girls in Rotherham and Telford and Oldham, of which I've read all the reports of the dreadful things happened to them, how dare he say that that was made up? Because that is something that he should have been thrown off the show for doing for a start. He's a despicable, despicable turd.
And again, just to prove my point, you guys, and I'm definitely angry, everyone's angry about what's being said, but this is why it's so important to platform these people, because our outrage is what's going to change things. Without giving us the opportunity to get that outrage, to disagree with these people, we are going to be in the dark.
Or was that the point? Did he do it to
who knows, mate? Who knows? With today's political environment,
was he playing a role, like a devil's advocate? It wouldn't surprise me for Morgan to do that. Because I don't think people are going to have watched it and agreed with him.
Yeah, for me, I go back to what I said yesterday with Piers Morgan. I think he's just trying to say anything to stay relevant, because he's realised that he's really not relevant anymore.
Oh, I don't know. He's got several million viewers.
Yeah, but where are they? Where are they? Are they like, they could be they could all be leftist people.
They could be. I think he's a despicable person, but he's somebody that I would much rather have on my side than not.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't want him on the right.
And I think that it was appalling that he had Sintish on there, and the very first thing he did was abuse her and make her look stupid, which you didn't get to see. And then later on, he then loses his rag with her on air and tells her she's never coming back on. I think that it was absolutely appalling to humiliate somebody of that age in particular, on their first ever appearance on his show, to treat them that way is disgusting. Regardless of why he's done it, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I really commend Based for is that she hasn't taken the typical route to get everyone else to shut up and listen to her, which is playing the racist card. She never pulled out her race or ethnicity on a single occasion. She stuck to her points and used that to argue her point instead of coming from a point of weakness in order to silence other people into submission.
You know what? I can't be asked with this. I can't deal with it. How pathetic.
That's quality. Yeah.
Oh, look, he's walked off. Jake, come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it, isn't it? That's why people do it. So everyone will go, oh, come back. Fuck's sake. It's ridiculous. It's clearly staged.
Hope she didn't get a payment for that.
Well, I thought about this, actually, because
pay a double.
Surely if Ava walks off, she shouldn't get paid because she hasn't fulfilled her contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she get paid double for trauma.
Yeah. I just think it's a shame for Based and Bougie, because I think that she's a sweet-natured individual and she means well, and I think that she's trying to do the right thing and that she genuinely does support British people. She fully understands the issues that we have. She fully understands that she's African and she doesn't try and hide that anywhere. As was rightly said, she never plays the race card. In fact, what she will do is point out when other people try and play the race card instead. And I think that he has sabotaged a potential opportunity for her, because that platform could have given her a much larger audience, perhaps could have even got her interviews in the States, for example, or through any of the contacts that Piers Morgan has. And he's deliberately sabotaged it there. Now, he might do the decent thing and offer to have her back on and apologise to her, but I doubt it. But he has a lot of control, and to abuse it like that is not acceptable.
But again, it just shows their true colours and why we shouldn't be listening to these people. Or we should be listening, but not... oh, you got the email, great. We should be listening, but not actually agreeing with what these people are saying, because
I used to have one of those.
Stop listening to what they say.
It had a picture of Obama's face on it, and it said authentic race card. I used to keep it in my wallet.
Classic.
Not racist. I identify as black, just like Slim. We're black brothers in arms.
I was trying to the follow-up video you had, Jake, is that the one on Dan Wootton?
Yeah, I think she did one on Dan Wootton where she spoke about her experience on there and what it was. What she thought.
I'm trying to find the email with the link. Oh, I got it. Oh, bum cheeks, found it. Let me take it out of that one because you get adverts on that. I need to put it through the Brave. Yes, I've got it. I've got it.
That entire interview was painful to listen to, because there was no respect for one another between any of the guests, and Piers Morgan was doing nothing to try and keep order or anything. So you couldn't even hear what was going on. It was just people shouting.
Yeah, I've got this is 28 minutes long, this one, but we'll play whatever of it. Might as well, don't we? So with Dan Wootton, let me make sure, do that, share the screen, because it'd be good to now I've seen that, because I was going to watch both of them beforehand for a change, because I don't normally watch videos, but I thought, do you know what, I'll actually watch this and then I'll watch this Dan Wootton one, and then when we do it, I'll see if I feel like I'm more prepared and I've got more to say. But obviously we're going out last night and everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going out to see Katie Hopkins. Didn't have time. Couldn't be asked. Yeah, couldn't be. I can't say I couldn't be bothered.
This can't be asked with it.
Well, I got triggered, mate. I had more triggers than a gun. But
I I don't think I've seen this one. I think I might have watched the first couple of minutes of it and then left it. So it might not be what we think it is.
Yep. We'll yeah, see what's said or whatever. We'll let it play through, and you know, if you want it stopped, obviously let me know. But let's see. But I've missed the little bit where it says coming up, so we're starting at 1 minute 17. So you know, we've already got through 1 minute 17 without stopping it, so we've done well.
Catastrophically.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Backfired as his own audience turn on him over a host of lies, fakery, and attempts to destroy true patriots live on air. Now, Piers was completely exposed on his own show. This is what's so beautiful about it, by outspoken contributors Don Keith and Based and Bougie, as he pathetically attempted to intellectually assassinate them on Uncensored. By the way, not a true independent outfit, given it is filmed and funded in Rupert Murdoch's London studios. Now, Based and Bougie will be here live shortly to hit back at Piers over the dishonest piece of broadcasting that even sparked that awful Ava Santina to storm off set. And for that, Based, I thank you. But first, I want to show you the video that Piers played to begin what was a planned and staged attack on our Based.
You're seeing people in solitary confinement for a difference of opinion, and now you're seeing people like the likes of Piers Morgan calling us the same old boring far right for being patriotic. Well, I have a question for Piers Morgan. If this is a far right racist extremist event, then what the am I doing here? The establishment, Piers Morgan, Keir Starmer need to learn that us patriots are this country's last hope. And rather than waking up to this fact, they would rather sit there and police when and where the English people wear the English flag. Let me make something very clear. If seeing the Union Jack makes you cross, respectfully, pack your bags and get lost.
So, of course, Piers hated the fact that Based had gone for him personally, so he descended into playing a low-grade game of MSM gotcha. Watch.
What is the Union Jack, do you think?
For me, the Union Jack is a sign of first.
No, what is it? Well, whose flag is the Union Jack?
The British flag.
Hmm?
The British flag.
You said English flag there.
The English, no. The Union Jack is the British flag.
Why did you say English flag?
Obviously, when you're under pressure, you end up saying things, but it is the British.
You don't think England is United Kingdom?
No, I'm just saying that it's
the Union Jack
flag.
obviously represents.
I know the difference between the two, but what we're discussing here.
What is it?
What's it freaking matter?
English flag, you know?
Is this flag with the red cross?
Right. So, but that wasn't the one behind you, and that wasn't the one you were talking about.
Okay, congratulations, you caught me here.
Well, no, I'm not trying to say gotcha. I'm just saying if you're going to start,
when you're under pressure, you end up saying things.
Okay, if you're going to start haranguing
especially when there's millions of people, you get a little bit nervous.
Yeah, but Cynthia,
millions of people.
If you're going to start haranguing people like me for not understanding what it means to be English, it would help if you understood what the English flag actually is.
Oh, you caught me.
I mean, pathetic, utterly pathetic. Now, so much of what Piers was doing.
You could argue there that what Piers Morgan just said is racist, because he's saying that a black African British woman doesn't actually know what English means. He's actually even going as far to ask her to identify what the English flag is, and he's claiming she doesn't know what British means. And the only reason I can think that he would be doing that is presumably because of her African heritage.
Yeah.
But it's also
because he has.
Sorry, I knew you referred to press pause then. But yeah, it's also worth mentioning that was what I was referring to. This is how the interview started. So he didn't say hello to her or introduce her or anything like that. It went straight into that clip of her, and then it went into this, where he's quite clearly trying to make her stupid.
He's still butter, isn't he? About what she said about him. And that's how pathetic the man is. I mean, Christ. Like, oh, freedom of speech then. Oh, you're allowed that unless it's against me, and then I can, like, personally attack you. So I think what Dan Whitten said, like, the mainstream media gotcha moment, that's exactly what he's going for there, isn't it? Like, oh, no, but you said that about the flag, the flag, the flag, the flag, the flag. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, but what did she say that was a work of genius? She said, congratulations, you got me, and laughed to show how completely pointless and ridiculous his gotcha actually is.
Yeah, it was pathetic. Well done, Piers. You scored a point, but no one's going to give you that point because it's that pathetic.
A deep hatred a deep personal hatred for Tommy Robinson, which our Don Keith, who was banned from entering the country to present Outspoken's coverage of UTK by Slippery Starmer, pointed out. Watch.
Those people said
Your
it for
problem,
decoration.
your problem is you have a vendetta against Tommy Robinson because the last time he was on your show, he gave you a shellacking, and you've never forgiven him for it.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He waved
yes,
around
he did.
the
Everybody
Quran
knows
like a silly little boy, and I held him to account for it.
Look at the
And
clips,
now,
man.
Okay,
Look
but
at the
here's
clips.
the thing: if your hero Tommy is so courageous and so fearless,
he's not my hero. He's my friend, but he is a champion to the
if
British
your
people.
friend Tommy, all he has to do is sit here in this desk opposite me and face the same questions. But you know why he's ducking me? Because he knows if he repeats the bullshit he spews to you guys that you all seem to swallow, he's going back to prison.
challenging you
He's
right
going
now.
back
You
to
cannot-
prison.
Now, Don gave us his exclusive reaction to that. Watch.
Piers has the British version of TDS. He has Tommy derangement syndrome. And I think this stems from the fact that many years ago, he got a shellacking the last time Tommy was on one of his shows. Tommy just gave him a good old-fashioned shellacking, and he's never gotten over it. I told him that to his face just now. I just got off with him right before you. I told him that to his face, and he was like, no, he didn't. He didn't. No, he didn't. But I think he did. I think he did.
But Piers really showed how I think he's completely out of touch, actually, with the British public during this episode of Uncensored, as he shamefully put on a pathetic display of inserting his tongue deep inside London's failed Islamist mayor Sadiq Khan's asshole. What?
Right, I go back.
Oh,
He's
that
saying-
line needs to be clipped. Oh my, wow.
Dan Whitten's saying that again. He has to say that again. That was brilliant.
With the British public during this episode of Uncensored, as he shamefully put on a pathetic display of inserting his tongue deep inside London's failed Islamist mayor Sadiq Khan's asshole. What?
Well, I saw Sadiq Khan today from the Chelsea Flower Show, and we had a nice chat. And Sadiq Khan is actually a very moderate Muslim. There's no evidence of him ever forcing any kind of extreme Muslim views or laws down on anybody. That's why he's been re-elected twice, and he's one of the most successful mayors in London history. And yet he is portrayed in America as some kind of demonic Islamist extremist.
I mean, yeah, according to Piers, there's not even an Islamist takeover of London. Is he serious?
There's no Muslim takeover. The game won't be stopped halfway through because the Muslims have decided in a Sharia court that we're not allowed to play. This is all horseshit. Check. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's fine. 250,000 of your women are being raped by Muslim, but it's okay.
Again,
it's fine.
an utterly ridiculous statement.
Go to Birmingham, go to Manchester.
Utterly ridiculous statement.
Go to Hull.
As I've said repeatedly,
Go
the
to
vast
Eastern.
majority of sexual crime against women
that
in
was
the UK.
Lord Malcolm Pearson in Parliament.
Don Keith, the vast majority of sexual crime against women in my country is committed by white men.
Oh, here we
Because
go.
they're the
You've never heard of
majority.
per capita. I don't
I
get
have
it.
heard of
They're
per
the
capita.
Disproportionately, it's disproportionately committed by Muslims against white Christian
I
girls
thought the
because it's a
question
rape
was to me.
genocide.
All right, let me
It's
bring
against-
Jay.
But the problem is, Piers' show isn't serious, right? It's not a serious show because after Don, very upstanding guy, married to a very upstanding woman, with a family, you know, I know Don, he's a great person. And after he put forth that statistic, the Young Turks Islamist made a really disgusting claim against him.
You probably want to do it.
Hang
That's
on
why
a
you
second.
put it. You project it on the
so
Muslims because your sick
You're an
mind
idiot.
thinks that that's
You're
a
an
fun
idiot.
thing to do.
You're an
We don't
idiot.
think that's
You're
a
an
fun
idiot.
thing to do. You think it's
You're
a
an
fun thing to
idiot.
do because you're a
So
sick
disgusting.
individual.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
What was it?
Oh wow, that was an effective.
Well, I'm
argument.
sorry, I missed what you said, Che. What did you
Oh,
say?
yours was super effective too.
Che,
Yeah,
what was
I
the point
think-
you made?
So what happens? Hold on. What happens all the time with anti-Muslim hatred is projection. So, for example,
I'm not
Israelis talking
anti-Muslim.
about Muslims
I like-
rape.
I like
hold
Muslims
on,
who like
hold
me.
on,
I don't like
hold
Islam.
on. Shut up. Hey, bigot.
You shut up.
Shut up.
You shut up.
Shut your mouth.
What you gonna do?
Okay.
What you gonna do?
So no, it's my question. Okay. So this bigot comes on here and makes up this fantasy he has in his head about Muslims raping white women because he wants to rape women and he thinks that's a fun thing to do. So he projects it on the Muslims.
I
as if
can't.
they
No,
would-
Just utterly ludicrous. Also ludicrous, by the way, is the fact that the mainstream media keep platforming that horrible woman, Ava Santina. Now, she's a left-wing flamethrower, but she's also totally discredited as a journalist. Like yesterday, she was embarrassed because she claimed that Dawn Butler was about to announce she was running against Sadiq Khan for the London mayoralty. I mean, this woman is a joke. She was a big part of whipping up the hysteria which led to my departure from GB News. And she put on another display of faux outrage when completely owned by Based and Bougie, who went in for the kill. Watch.
Can I just say importantly, before you ask me your question, I can't find any evidence of that statistic.
No.
And I think the thing I would say, which is probably
that really smug voice she's got. Yeah, I just had a look at that one reference.
Yeah.
I can't be asked.
A quick glance.
Fuck's sake.
In this, when we watched it the first, the other video before we watched this one, I don't know if it's this point, but watch, it looks like a right eye fails her. The left, as we're looking at it, it looks like it sort of goes down and can't come back up again.
Yeah,
so I think she might be a plant. Did you notice it? Yeah, I did. Reject.
It's not going to go down very well, but various police forces, and actually that was one of the main reasons that the Rotherham grooming gangs exploded in the way it did, don't actually record ethnicity and race. That's a big problem in this country. So it'd be highly unlikely that you'd have been able to have that kind of data in the first place. It was announced it was given to the House of Lords by Lord Pearson.
House of Lords.
Sorry, thank you. But by Lord Pearson, but there isn't any evidence. It was then submitted to ministers who rejected it. So I don't think there is any evidence for that claim.
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course he's lying.
If someone, God forbid, raped your daughter and then came back to you and said to you, actually, let's talk about ethnicity and religion and statistics and not the fact that your child has been raped. How would you feel? How would you feel?
But I'm just
These are children we're talking about. Children have been raped, and rather than people just focusing on the fact that these children have been raped, they're talking about Islamophobia, racism, and all of this.
I just think it's serious.
And then Ava put on probably her most pathetic attention-seeking stunt yet, as she looked like she was auditioning for the role of Britain's most stroppy teenager.
Why wasn't your response, this is wrong, we need to figure out a way to do it? Instead, you brought out statistics from your phone talking about, I cannot find it.
That is categorically
No, what I'm trying to say is, as a woman, have some compassion. And
no, I'm not going to have you dominate the narrative here.
If someone's telling you that young women are being assaulted, and your first yes, because you know what you're doing is disgusting and demonic. It's so demonic.
What is demonic? What are you talking about?
It's demonic.
You've just driven someone to leave the studio.
Yeah, no, she left by herself.
You made up a statue you called it demonic.
She does not like the fact that I just drew her out for being actually quite disgusting. If someone tells you
she
that
wasn't
young
disgusting,
girls
you were the one being disgusting.
And to respond exclusively now to Piers Morgan, Based and Bougie is here, and she joins me on the Superstar panel alongside Kelly J. Keane, Richard Donaldson, Peter C. Barnes, and Colin Brazier. So, Based, firstly, I thought you were brilliant because what he tried to do, I thought it was one of the most cynical, disgusting pieces of broadcasting I've ever seen, especially in the independent space, because this was like what the MSM do. He immediately tried to set you up, Based, as being stupid, some type of thicko, put you off your game right at the start by doing that gotcha about the flag. He had clearly decided that he wanted to humiliate you. He said, oh, I've never heard of you, no idea who you are. And I thought it took you a little moment to get over that, and then you warmed up again. So what was it like, firstly, and how did he treat you before you went on and afterwards?
Well, first off, I just want to start off by saying that Piers Morgan is a pathetic pig. That's what he is, just a pathetic Piers pig, because if you actually think about it, a pig is somebody who just eats anything. And that's exactly what Piers Morgan is. He will eat any kind of money, and he'll accept any kind of money, even if it means trying to downplay the grooming gangs. It was absolutely disgusting. But no, he did have it out for me, because when I first walked in, he didn't even say hi. He was too busy barking at his staff members, telling them how long does it take you guys to get one thing simply done, and just shouting at, pretty much belittling his staff members. It was so rude. So I had to say hi, and then he goes, hi. Then he started to ask me my name, and I told him it's Cintish, and he goes, why is it Based in Bougie? And I'm like, that's just the name that I go for on my social media. And he goes, okay, so then what do I call you? I said, you can call me whatever. Then he tries to do the exact same thing again when we go live on air, asking me, what is my name? Is it Cintish or Based in Bougie? We already went through this behind the scenes. So he was very condescending. And even after we left, he didn't even say bye. I just said, "Are we done?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, thank you." He was just like, "Bye." So he had it out for me. And this is what I mean when I say he's absolutely a pathetic pig. And I think that whole Piers Morgan show was so beneath me, like so beneath me, because first and foremost, of all the things to talk about what happened during UTK, you want to talk about the 50,000 to 1 million people. You want to talk about whether I said the English flag or the British flag. First and foremost, that was two separate sentences. I was first referring to the English flag, and in a separate sentence, I said the British flag. I never said they were all one. So he tried to catch me out there, and I think it was absolutely hilarious. And all this because of what? Because I'm associated with Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is someone that I see like once or twice a year. So he has Tommy the Ranger syndrome. And I think the reason why he hates Tommy so much is because this far-right football hooligan is more respected than he will ever be. And rather than him hating on Tommy Robinson, what he should do is grow some balls and stop being a pig and just be honest about what's actually happening in this country.
And what happened with that woman, Ava Santina? Because it was almost like she was disgusted to have to sit next to you, based. Mm-hmm. But first, quick gut check for the new year. Data leaks aren't...
Is that what we sort of the crux of it, isn't it? Because we want to invite other people in at some point to discuss. But oh my God, the bum thing was brilliant.
A quick one with Ava or Ava. Google her surname's origins. It's obvious why she's left wing. Her family are probably migrants.
Yeah, Santina Evans. Her
Comes
surname,
from
isn't it?
Spain.
Santina.
That's a Spanish origin surname. You don't get that surname unless you've got Spanish in your blood. It's obvious why she's left wing. She's from a migrant family.
She's not the brightest, is she?
No.
Although to be fair,
No.
Sintish brightest either, because she did say that they had it out for her when we all know that she meant had it in for her.
Yeah. Anyone else want to discuss this? The link's there, so you can come up and talk with me, Jake, and Ace if you wish. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah. What I was just saying, really. I don't know what it was. I've forgotten, but whatever I just said, yeah, I stand by. Yeah, I stand by it.
I think this, to me, it proves that the fact that you can talk about anything you like, but as soon as, even though it's facts about certain Muslims and religions, then you seem to get silenced. And like Cenk Uygur saying, "Oh, you bigot, shut up, you bigot." Like he was telling us to shut up when he wasn't really talking that much. So you could see he was going for a look at me moment. But bigot, what? He's literally saying like, "Oh, the bloke done this in the House of Lords or whatever, and like this was said and whatever, this is a figures and that." Okay, fair dues. No, bigot. I was waiting for racist, fascists, Islamophobe and all the other crap, because I just don't understand where that come from to be a bigot.
I think that because it's a way of silencing the conversation, but it's a way of saying that your opinion is so outrageous that we can't even discuss it. So that's why he said it. But the important thing is that the guy, I don't know what his name was, the American guy, he did actually say where his information came from, and it's a legitimate source. Lord Pearson in the House of Lords, actually said it. And so you can verify that quite easily by looking at Hansard, which tells you everything that's said in the Houses of Parliament. So it's a legitimate thing to say. She's then gone and looked it up, but she's looked it up, as Triggered Christian rightly pointed out, from her own perspective. So she's gone in looking to disprove it rather than try and find out a neutral source. And then when it's queried, she tries to act like a child being queried, going, "Oh, what? I was just looking up a stat," as if she's all innocent.
Yeah. But that was her gotcha moment to say, "Oh, yeah, that link. Oh, yeah, I looked at it. Rubbish." She loved that.
Yeah. I think what could also be pointed out for the gentleman who was screaming bigot, he was also projecting.
Of course he was. I mean,
because he was coming from a bigoted point of view. So,
yeah, white people project all the time about raping women and going around beheading people. It's a common occurrence. Rampant, in fact. Absolutely ridiculous thing to say. That might be common in his culture. That might be what they aspire to doing, but it's something that in this country we take a very dim view of indeed.
Yep.
And haggis is disgusting.
Agreed.
Just commenting on
Yeah.
haggis is horrible. It tastes like stuffing.
Oh, I don't like stuffing.
You won't like haggis then.
Is that the one that's in a stomach lining? Is that right?
Yeah,
that's
the one. Yeah, not my
Bad
cup
enough
of
that we
tea.
use intestines to make sausages. Ugh. Jesus.
Best not to
So,
think of these.
I'm trying to Google to get figures, but nothing comes up.
No, it won't. You have to look for specific things.
Yeah, it's like even when I hit search for the Copilot, oh, you need to be very considerate when looking up blah blah blah, and it goes all stupid.
You can find the data out there, but it takes a lot of looking through because they weren't recording the ethnicity, as was mentioned, and I wonder why they weren't doing that, considering that everywhere else in the world does. And if you can't find any statistics, the best thing to do with that, and this is what I always do, is I think, okay, well, if we haven't got statistics, what country is similar to our country? And you will find that there are loads of statistics for a country very similar to ours in Denmark. And the rapes are through the roof through the migrants that they have there. The only difference is the actual nationality of the rapists is different from here. I think they have more Syrian ones.
Oh, I thought it was Albania with Denmark.
Could
or is
be.
that Sweden? Might be Sweden.
Yeah, I got
And
data is available by ethnicity in some ONS and CPS publications, but categories cover broad groups such as Asian, Black, Mixed, White, and other. Religion is not part of these data sets.
No.
They really need to start categorizing Asian because they're dumping a whole group of people together that should not be dumped together.
That's why
North
that's good with the pie chart that I mentioned, because it specifically says on it Pakistani, and it's something like 70 or 80%. I mean, it is true that not all of the grooming gangs are Pakistani. As I said, we saw yesterday the disgusting story about the Afghans in Norwich, but the fact that they are neighbours and they are the same tribe and it's the same culture, I think is very significant indeed. People from that part of the world do not have anything in common with people in this part of the world. They have no right to be here. They have done nothing but cause problems since being here, and each and every one of them should be rounded up and sent back to the desert shithole where they came from.
I think the problem that Islam faces is that the West, because we don't inbreed, our IQs are a lot higher, therefore we're more able to critically think, and they're finding that very difficult to defend their position. They have to take to slander to silence people, to push their narrative. But what the problem for Islam is that the West can look, at Pakistan, it could look at India, it could look at Afghans, it could look at Chinese, blah, blah, blah. But there's one common link between all of the countries that these problems are coming from, and that's Islam. And they can't defend against that. They physically can't, because it's a linking factor that links all of those countries together, which would suggest that the Pakistanis wouldn't be like that if Islam wasn't introduced into Pakistan.
That is a very logical conclusion to reach, isn't it?
Well, you could say yes, you could say no, but
have the problems if you didn't have Islam, because then people wouldn't be following Islam, which is what is creating all of the problems. And people can say, yes, there's different interpretations and it's all about context and all of that shit, but the point is the book is the same, and if there are people who are interpreting it in that way, then that book is the problem.
So something interesting's actually come up with Islam recently. I actually came across this yesterday, and I find this very, very interesting. Islam, the only way They're never going to reform Islam because that's what they choose to do. The only reason that they would soften Islam is to make it more palatable to the West. Well, the knock-on consequence of that is already starting to show itself. If you go to Quran.com, they have changed.
I'm there every day.
They have changed the English translations to say things that are not in the Quran. Now, the knock-on effect of that, if you're a young Muslim that doesn't know that, you're going to read those interpretations and think that's what it actually means. That's how the reform of Islam is going to come around. It's through the softening of Islam to make it more palatable for the West. And it's already happening in front of our face.
I would extend it to go into other areas as well, such as history, the way that is being rewritten right in front of our very eyes, and people are being told that it's really untrue, such as Pakistanis came over here after World War II and rebuilt the country. There's absolutely no evidence for it whatsoever. The only reason that Kashmiris came here is because a dam was built there, and there was a need for some workers in some areas, and so they were brought over from that area, and obviously that was like bringing in an invasive species.
Is there, I'm just going to Google to see if there's any data around how many Pakistanis came over during after World War II. But if I do that, it will take me off of the Google page, so I will go silent. But you guys carry on talking. I'm just going to...
As far as I'm aware, Pakistanis didn't start coming over in large numbers until, I would say, the late 60s, early 70s. But they didn't come over after World War II, not in any numbers anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was interested in, was the numbers that came over after World War II, because then they can't turn around and say, well, if there's only 200 that came in, you clearly can't have rebuilt Britain.
Well, you can say the same argument about Windrush, because that was only hundreds of people, not thousands.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics or the numbers around all of that. I need to do more self-education in regards to that. I don't know enough about it to talk about it. But
Poor people came over for Windrush. It literally was hundreds. And even going up into the late 60s when Powell was writing his famous speech, even then the numbers coming in were in the thousands, and not even necessarily going into double figures. And yet people were objecting then to that amount of people coming in. And then it's roughly settled at about 20,000 a year up until the late 90s. And now for the last 3 years, it's been over 1 million.
It's amazing they've even got any men left in their country with how many of them come here, really.
I know, I'm going over there. Think of all the women, it'd be great. You should come, Ace.
No, I'd rather be a nun, thank you.
Well, all those women.
Yeah, I would genuinely rather be a nun, thank you.
I don't know. There's some very attractive women from that part of the world. There's also some very ugly.
But that doesn't mean I want to sleep with them.
So I found some interesting information. I'm going to read it. Well, read the first little bit, but I'm going to put it on screen as well, because obviously people will say, oh, you're making it up. So with it being on screen as I read, there's just 2 paragraphs, and I'm not. But basically it says, new research conducted by the Centre of Migration Control revealed that in 2024, foreign nationals accounted for between 28% and 34% of convictions for sexual assaults on a female across England and Wales. It also shows...
Hang on.
What?
There's an important thing to mention there. If you just go back up to that statistic again, right, look at those numbers, 28 and 34. So we're talking about 1/3 of all offences. If you were to then look, after you'd looked at this, at how many foreign nationals there are, then that would show you that per capita, this is a fucking huge problem.
That's why they like to only focus on the net. They don't like us talking about the other statistic.
It also shows that foreign nationals accounted for 1/4 of all rape of a female over 16 convictions last year, despite them accounting for roughly just 10.9% of the population. Across all sexual offence categories, there were 1,118 known foreign national convictions, which counted for 15% of convictions, which, when unknown nationalities are added, could take the true figure as high as 22% of the total number of sexual offences. The findings come as a Centre of Migration Control launches a new campaign urging parliamentarians to introduce an immigration red list, as recently introduced by US President Donald Trump, to make it much harder for migrants from high-risk countries to reach the UK. And that little bit there is just about the freedom of information.
Yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning as well that it says on there quite clearly known foreign nationals. So it doesn't tell us anything about the ones where we don't know the ethnicity, although we obviously do and haven't recorded it. And it also doesn't tell us anything about the offences that haven't been reported, of which we know most rapes go unreported. And we also know from rape statistics of British people that what was said in Piers Morgan was true. They do tend to stick within their own. Most rapes are perpetrated by somebody known to the victim. Obviously, in these situations, these are going to be stranger rapes, and it's accounting for a third of people, yet it's only 10% of the population. It's fucking disgusting. And for anyone to deny that, they're complicit in it. Their ignorance is complicit in sexual violence.
Yep.
Totally agree, Jake. Totally agree. You mentioned, we spoke about earlier, like Reform's policy compared to Restore's policy. Here's one that's actually very, very different between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Restore have policy that they are introducing a red list. Reform don't.
Good.
So there is one policy that I can point out as a difference. But like I said earlier, guys, go read their policies for yourselves. Do not take my word for it. Read it for yourself.
I just don't understand why these people are so keen to try and hide this narrative. Surely it's in everyone's interest to say this is happening, we need to sort it out. I mean, that isn't even serious. That is a fucking national emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's only a national emergency for us. For them, it's not, because they're the ones committing the national emergency. So,
and we all know, as I mentioned earlier, we know which countries are on this red list. None of them should be coming in here. Obviously, those people are coming in here illegally. They're saying that they're refugees. They're saying that they've probably come from some other country where they're being persecuted. And our fuckwit of a system says, oh yeah, you can come and stay here then for nothing because you're being persecuted. And then they go out on the rape every day until they get caught and we have to deport them. In which case they then get in a human rights lawyer who says, no, they've established a family here, so we have to let them stay. And that's what ends up happening. That's why the system is at fault and we need to get rid of the system. These bastards that are coming here are a massive emergency, but they are not the problem of the system. They are a symptom of the system that has gone wrong.
for sure. Grace, just to give light to what you've said, Advance UK, yes, they were definitely the first ones to put the policy of red list in place. And if there was ever a coalition on the right, the one I would hope to see would be between Advance and Restore. That's the one I would hope to see.
I just don't see anyone taking Advance seriously anymore. I just don't think that they even exist in most people's imaginations. I know they've got a huge following online and that is important, but actually out in the real world, I don't think that the majority of people would have heard of Advance or Ben Habib, because most of them haven't heard of Rupert Lowe. And I think that any momentum that they built has unfortunately gone because of the events that happened, and regardless of the reasons for why those things happened, they had an opportunity. It went through their fingers for, like I say, whatever reason. And I think that if they're going to make any impression anywhere, they've got a mountain to climb, and I don't know if they can do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's really a shame, because I've always maintained the position that Ben, my goodness, he is such an intelligent guy. I have watched pretty much every talk that he's done at Cambridge, at Oxford, and the guy really knows, like, he puts it across in such an eloquent, understandable way. I think he would be great with Rupert, but unfortunately, like you say, Jake, they just don't have the coverage. And that's really sad because those two parties combined could really change things for this country. And that's sad that he hasn't got that opportunity just because of, well, who knows why, but yeah.
Well, Rupert Lowe has the right to run his party however he likes. He's under no obligation to have an alliance with anybody if he doesn't want to. And I think if he felt that Advance were going to go somewhere, then I think he would have taken that on. And I think it's unfortunate for Ben that he obviously assumed that he was running things for Rupert to then eventually take over, and that actually wasn't the case. And it's for all the people who invested time and money in that as well, because I think that they've been left to feel very much aggrieved by what happened, and rightly so. And it is a shame.
Just another one, Grace. You mentioned obviously Makerfield there, that Advance are, campaigning for them. So are Britain First. Britain First publicly put out a statement saying to Rupert, "Go for it. We're not going to stand in your way." And I think that's like really admirable for right-hand parties that could further try and split the vote if they wanted to, but they're going to concede to a party that they know has already got quite a lot of backing. And I think one of the problems that Restore's currently facing is the fact that when it comes to the polling, they're not actually named. They're dumped in the other group. And if they were named, then the true polls would actually show the figures.
Yeah, I think you have to have a certain percentage, don't you, to get named? And I'm not sure.
I'm not sure on that, to be honest. I think personally, if you've got a poll, it should state those names across the entire thing, so you can see, right, that's what that person's got, that's what that person's got. Just saying other, well, who the hell is other?
Yes.
I think it's 5%, Jake. I think it's 5%,
Is it 5%
or more.
Yeah.
And then you get named rather than being another.
Before I forget, there was something I wanted to mention on here today about an item that's been in the news that really, really wound me up, more than any other one has done this week. And it was the story about those 3 pikey boys that raped 2 teenage girls and filmed it. They're all 14 or 15, and they've been effectively let off because they were considered as a low intelligence, and that they therefore weren't fully aware of what they were doing. It's absolutely disgusting. Those little bastards should be taken out into the town square, put in stocks and flogged mercilessly. Then they should be attached to a table and they should have their fucking balls cut off. And if they survive, then that's their punishment. If they don't, who cares? What are they ever going to contribute to society? And now they've got away with it, and so they think they can get away with it again. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't care that they're 14. They were old enough to know that how to rape somebody, how to film it, how to laugh about it afterwards, and how to make up excuses. That makes them fully responsible for what they've done. And at very least punishment, they should themselves be raped for what happened.
Can we get a poll in the chat about who agrees that capital punishment should be reintroduced into the country? Because I'd be very interested to see people's opinions. I think it should be reintroduced. Doesn't mean it has to be used, but the very fact that it's there, there's no way, we would be holding them accountable via their own laws, but being enacted by us. They won't like that whatsoever.
What about a compromise that would allow for capital punishment, but would broaden it by having corporal punishment reintroduced, such as lashes with a cat o' nine tails, or having an ear sliced off, which was a very popular treatment before the Victorian era.
Did you say corporate punishment? What's that?
Corporal punishment.
Yeah.
So physical punishment.
What did you want, Ace? Should capital punishment be reintroduced?
Yes. Because I thought that's what capital punishment was, is where you're using physical.
Yeah, capital
there you go.
Is lethal. And corporal is just physical.
Ah, right. Okay. There's the definite the defining line. Okay. Yeah.
Now, you could, for example, have hanging by the neck as a corporal punishment, because you don't have to hang them until they're dead. You can hang them until they're unconscious. That would be a corporal punishment. But I don't think little bastards like who did that should have any right to a decent life whatsoever. They should just be absolutely... In fact, I would probably, if it were up to me, I would, before having this physical punishment on them, I would have them put somewhere, some black site for 2 weeks, and I would have them psychologically broken in every possible way, and then I would have their body broken in every possible way, because that is just unacceptable what they did in any possible society. Even Muslims, I think, would probably draw the line. No, actually, no, they wouldn't.
I put that thing on screen saying that Attorney General's to review it, because it just seemed ridiculous. Like,
it's awful.
I actually, based on that verdict, I started getting, and I don't know about everyone else because, you know, what we all think is different, but the one thing that came to my mind as soon as that those two, because it trialed twice, didn't it? And it got overturned on both occasions. Like, there was no ruling on both occasions, hung jury. I would like to know how many Muslims were on that jury, because it would only take one to not agree to cause a hung jury. I actually, based on that trial, messaged Rupert Lowe with a policy suggestion that if he does manage to, you know, get enough support and rally the troops and gets himself into a position for 2029, that us banning foreign nationals, whether you're born here or not, you should not be serving in British juries.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, I think you should be banned from politics and everything.
Yeah, and for them to go ahead and prosecute against the inquiry, having a policy like that is going to be pivotal, because it will just get shut down. It only takes one person to disagree to hang the jury. So
I just do not understand how that judge can ever have come to that conclusion. You look at it, 3 kids with 10 rape convictions between them. 10. Fucking filmed it. Those girls are going to have to live with that for the rest of their life. These are getting the lightest punishment possible. One of the mothers said that her daughter has just said all she wants to do is die, and these cunts get treated like that. No, that's not going to happen.
The other group of people I'd like to see prosecuted are these judges, because they should not be ruling like this. The law is not there to interpret. The law is there to enact. It's not. It's very black and white. There isn't, you know, any grey area in law. It's all very black and white. It's not there to be interpreted from your political perspective. That's the problem that we're facing in our justice system, is that unfortunately, you know, through lobbying, payouts, God knows what else, these judges are being turned into political activists. That's what's happening.
It's not, in fact, dissimilar to the way in which we separated religion from state. I think that the same thing is going to need to happen in our judiciary with regard to politics, because it has become politicised, very much towards left bias. It's not doing any good anywhere. And yeah, these judges they're a fucking disgrace. I mean, how can you possibly sleep at night when you've delivered that judgment?
He probably would have ruled very differently if it was his own daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not his trial, it
said that.
Huh?
He'd have got up out of his chair if he said that and stormed off.
Probably.
Appalling.
Yeah, well,
absolutely. That is life sentence for those girls.
Yep. But the boys won't be, like, they're too young to be named and all that as well. So, you know, they'll probably have PlayStation 5 while I'm doing whatever they're doing in life and, you know, living up.
I think
living the dream.
one of the important things that we should be then going for once we've started deporting these people is reformations from their countries, because they're very quick to want reformations for slavery, for God knows what else, that wasn't just the white people, by the way. So, okay, if that's good enough for you and that's the standard you work by, fine, we'll apply that standard to ourselves. We want reparation for the mass rape of this country, because that's what it is. In fact, it's not just this country, it's the whole of fucking Europe. They have mass raped their way through Europe. Why are we allowing this?
They have. It is a sexual genocide.
Yeah, an ethnocide, yeah.
And a genocide does not have to mean that it kills the population. If the fact that you are oppressing them and that you are mistreating them in any way, it can be considered a genocide as well. And that is what we have to consider it, because that is what they are coming over here and doing. If 1/3 of all sexual offences are committed by foreign nationals who make up only 10% of the population, then there's a massive problem. And it needs to be dealt with. It's as serious a problem as Nazism was in the 1930s. And the sooner we wake up and recognise that and get rid of this poisonous ideology, then we might be able to start planning for a better future. Yeah. In fact, in Yugoslavia, the Muslim gangs there would go around and would rape the women purposely. And if you've read any of the disgusting things about October the 7th, these perverted Muslims are absolutely obsessed with genitals. They're obsessed with sticking things in genitals, knives, bottles, everything. It's fucking disgusting.
Their Quran teaches them to and I don't use this word lightly. This is literally the wording of the Quran. They are ordered by the word of the Quran to terrorize us. That's why they're doing all of these things, because they know it causes terror.
Yep. And because they're allowed to do it. It's justified that they can rape. There is nothing to say that they can't. And the problem that we're having is that the people are coming over here, and we've all seen them strutting about, acting all arrogant and going, yes, but it's my religion. And our fuckwit of a government is saying, yes, that's fine. All cultures are equal. Of course you can do that. When the majority of people are waking up to the fact that, no, all cultures are not equal, and we're not putting up with this shit. Get that filthy ideology out of this country, out of Europe, send it back to where it belongs. And if it's possible, try and completely debunk it so it gets treated as the fraud that it is, and nobody ever resurrects that death cult ever again.
There's a way to dismantle that argument about all cultures are equal. Okay, so culture's changed over the years. Does that mean the culture of the KKK was equal to that of a non-KK culture?
Yeah, right. And,
like,
another one is cannibalism. Are cannibals equal to us?
Yeah. It's just absolute absurdity.
It is.
They want to dilute the truth. They want to distort the truth. And we're not going to allow it because, well, we're actually capable of critically thinking, unlike them.
Yeah.
And that's really is a big problem for them. They don't know how to tackle it.
No, they don't. And it came about largely because of the Enlightenment, which encouraged us to then reflect on our experiences, to challenge our assumptions, and to, in many ways, rethink society, which hasn't necessarily been for its benefit, but the discussion has at least encouraged critical thinking, and it has encouraged people to actually question things, which is, I think, a good thing to be doing. Because otherwise you're living under a theocracy or a tyranny where you're told what to think and you're told how to behave. And that is exactly what Islam does. And I reject anything where it tells you to do that.
All I can
what
say...
about, read this bit I've just highlighted there, look. That's crazy. Quarter of the population is Muslim. 71% of convicted rapists were immigrants.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard this before. That migrants that come over from another country, say Pakistan, they're not actually radical in Pakistan, but the second they get over here, because they feel that they're living in enemy territory, the radicalism comes out. And so that's just one side of the argument. And you've got the other side of the argument, which is what you've highlighted there. The second and third generations, because they're being raised by people that didn't grow up under these society, like our societal rules, all they've done is teach their children the rules of the country they came from. They're not teaching them the rules of the country they're living in.
Yeah,
So it's no wonder that these people, the second and third generations, are becoming radicalized. It's no wonder.
you're right about that. And it's also interesting seeing in this article, it actually confirms what I said earlier. In there, it says that 80% of the rapists attacked women they didn't know. Which is what I was saying before about how you tend to find with the white rapist, it tends to be somebody that they know. That doesn't mean that that is a better form of rape, obviously, because there is no such thing. It's all absolutely appalling. But it clearly shows here that these people are deliberately targeting the white women of Sweden. And Sweden has a very similar demographic and similar ideals that we have here, although it's arguably more of a socialist country than we are. And they did exactly what Britain did. They opened their doors, but said, yes, look at us, we're such nice people, come and live here. And now look what's happened. Almost 3/4 of the rapes in Malmö are done by Muslim immigrants.
Was it Sweden that was voted the happiest country in Europe? Or was it Finland? I can't remember. It's one of the two.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
They got voted like the happiest in the whole of Europe.
I think it might be Finland.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. It's Afghanistan now.
But even here, look at that bit. In the UK, rates more than double from over 16,000 to over 36,000 during the Muslim migrant crisis. Today, they stand at over 67,000 for an increase of over 50,000, over 300%.
I saw a slightly different statistic than that. It's very similar, but it said that the rape statistics, and I can't remember which year it was it gave, but they were about 8,000 a year, and that the current is about 80,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, the figure I saw was 600% increase, but I mean, that's double.
Yeah, this is 2025, I think.
It said 1 in 10 women have been raped.
Oh, this is January 2025. Yeah. Swedish women. Yeah. 1 in 10 women in the UK, and over 1 in 10 in Swedish women, 1 in 10 British women, English women, and the Muslim population rose by over 1 million during the same period.
Yep.
Oh,
and the same in Ireland.
Yeah, the Netherlands. They are going through some tough shit.
Now, in 1939, when we saw the Nazis rampaging across Europe, we decided that appeasement wasn't working anymore. We needed to show some balls and fight them back. It's about time we did the same with what's going on here, because this has gone far beyond taking the piss. This is a full-on emergency.
Yeah.
There's a reason we're known as an 11th hour nation. I think we need to start being maybe a bit more of a 5 o'clock nation, to be honest with you.
I mean, yes, they're doing all of these things. Yes, they are. But don't forget, their numbers compared with ours are tiny.
Yeah, and I think what's important to note as well is that, you know, we've stopped recording ethnicity. It's very possible that Europe's going to start doing the same soon because, well, they're just getting called racist left, right, and centre. And that's how we've stopped recording ethnicity. So I would assume that all of these figures are actually very watered down to make it more palatable for migrants to be in Europe. Because if they showed the true figures, I mean, it's already bad enough, but if they showed the true figures across the entirety of Europe, Europe would burn itself down in rage.
Yeah, it would. And I think it will. And I think you're beginning to see the signs of it in many, many of the countries. And one of the worst ones, surprisingly, is Germany, where because of World War II, they've gone completely the opposite way, overrun with migrants. Places like Hamburg, they have open-air drug areas. It's literally the green policies coming to life. And it has turned the place into an absolute shithole. People are frightened to go there because it's not just rapes that are happening. People are getting beaten up, they're getting stabbed, getting robbed, because they're also taking over the drug gangs in the areas as well.
I think what's sad, though, about the situation for Germany the reason they may have ended up going that way is that they've had so many sanctions placed upon them. Even today, they're not allowed to take their soldiers off of their soil without EU permission. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised.
Well, but they're not Nazis anymore. I mean, like, why shouldn't they be allowed to take their soldiers off of their soil and go and help an allied country to defend democracy? Why do they have to have permission from the EU to support democracy? That's absolutely outrageous. We're 75 years almost on, or just over, from World War II now.
Yeah, we are.
Most of the people from World War II are dead now. So, and you know, the West doesn't really have a leg to stand on. There was an Operation Paperclip by America, which took at the end of World War II, took 10 of the top scientists out of the Nazi regime and took them over to America to basically utilize education that we couldn't quite figure out how they'd worked out. So,
and they went to Russia as well, some of them.
Yeah.
So all the rocket technology was then used for the moon landings and all that sort of thing, and a lot of advanced weaponry, such as, for example, the Manhattan Project came from Nazi scientists because we were afraid that they would get there first.
Yeah.
But I think that if we look at things how they are here, if you were to take the Nazi ideology and you were to compare it with the Islamicology that we have at the moment, which is more preferable? Which is something that you would never ever think that you would say. That I would rather that the Nazis had won World War II, because that would never have allowed the Muslim invasion to have happened.
I don't agree with that, and only because we have photographic evidence of Hitler taking advice from imams out of Islam.
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just putting it out there as a proposal.
I think it would have been harder for them to overtake Europe, but I don't think, because, again, Hitler was seeking advice from Islam. I think he probably would have maybe welcomed them in because they support his view, personally. But again, we're further down the line than when the Nazis were in existence. We've got even more evidence against Islam and why it's dangerous. And exactly. the left are finding that out recently. There's a place in America, I can't remember what state. The left helped the Muslims or Islam to get in, and the second they got in, they banned all pride flags from being flown in that state.
It's just the most barbaric, ignorant, stupid, fraudulent belief system I've ever heard. And I cannot believe that so many people are that stupid and that retarded that they believe it. And it needs to be, we need to get rid of it from our society. If we want to improve our society and actually make a difference to our country, then we're going to have to get rid of that ideology, because it is poisoning our country in so many different ways.
I think what's important is that we recognise how they've done it. They've done it through the education system. They've done it through our infrastructure. So they've gotten themselves into, key points that allow them to do quite a lot of damage with relatively no work. Shifting of opinions, and that over time has caused, the state of today, really.
I'm not so sure that I would agree that it is something that is a long-term plan that has been enacted. I think that there are long-term plans, and some of those things in those plans have been enacted, but I think it's, rather than a coordinated plan, I think it's the result of many different things coming together, such as the Western belief system that has allowed that to happen and hasn't been strong enough in putting its foot down, which it should have done in the 90s when the hate preachers first emerged on the scene, when the numbers were still small enough to have been able to contain them. It should have just said no to all of them, kicked the whole lot out, and then focused on this country and trying to sort what we have here out. But how can any single person sit there and look at those figures and say that the cultures are equal?
But we're not allowed to talk about it. So could we ever do anything about it, really? Or will there be a breaking point?
Well, what if we got all of them, we took them all to Saudi Arabia and then nuked it? That would solve the problem.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, good idea.
Or what if we give them their own empire? We send them to the moon. They can colonize that.
Yeah.
Plenty of room.
That'll be hilarious. But
They
then,
can call
waste of a
Palestine.
moon. What?
I think that's the solution. We send them all.
Moonistan.
Moonistan.
The moon is actually the most pivotal point of their whole religion.
It is
Their,
their-
yeah, we
Live on it, it might get split again.
Well,
Yeah.
we masculinized the sun, whereas they masculinized the moon.
Yeah,
That's
'cause they-
why they have the moon and the star the way they do, and we don't have that in our religions. And
because
again, this all goes back
everything
to
wrong. That's why.
it all goes back to the fact that Hubal was
God,
actually an
here we
important
go.
idol. So
This is going to be fun. Poor Bobby.
Defend them.
He's a
Hello,
glutton for
Bobby.
punishment, is Bobby.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Oh man, I can't believe it. I was watching the stream, guys, and I thought, let me just like get myself together and eat my sandwich and get a coffee. And it's been boiling here, but it's just cutting up a little bit, the reception. I'm hoping it's okay because since I stepped on the stream yard.
It's probably a good thing for you.
You guys
Bobby.
all right? You can hear me?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
can
that's
hear.
what we were talking about.
You're all good, yeah?
yeah,
very
Okay,
all
yeah,
good,
yeah,
all
yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah, I know. You lot going to a bit of an anti-Islam tirade. I know. I'm crying.
Well, anti-rape, actually. Anti-rape.
Yeah,
is where
I
we're
know.
going.
But no, there's so many points that I wanted to speak about. Like you mentioned something about the Nazis and Muslims and that. I looked into this for a long time, yeah. And what I found, I found videos of like Muslims praying with Nazis and Nazis praying with Muslims. And have you lot seen that?
I've not seen
yes,
videos,
video.
but I've seen photographs.
Yeah, I've seen the videos of like all the
Probably the anti-Jewish thing.
exactly what we do and that. And no, I think what it was back then when I figured it out, because I couldn't figure out, well, there's so much stuff to do with World War I and II, yeah. But I was confused for years. I was really confused for years about certain things. And obviously people feel uncomfortable talking about it in case they say the wrong thing or whatever, right? As well. So right now.
You're cutting out. Bob.
Sorry,
Cutting out.
guys. So right now, you lot are saying about like, would you rather have Hitler in charge? Hitler in charge.
I would much rather have Hitler in charge than Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah, right. So then, I mean, one thing, I don't know exactly what the answer is, but I could say some things I did kind of know, during that time. It was the Indians and the Pakistanis and that. We went on a sign of obviously the colonial powers, right? And that means that the Turkish and other people went on the side of Hitler. So you kind of like.
Yeah.
Keeps cutting out. But yeah, did you catch that, Jake?
No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you kind of cut out a bit there towards the end.
Reception keeps
Bobby.
going bad. I'm going to go and do.
To be honest, I can't believe you're sitting in a car in this heat. You're absolutely crazy, bro. You should be out in the garden enjoying the fresh air.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a difficult defence here, really, after the statistics we've looked at today.
Yeah, the inquiry comes out in June, some point in June, and I
Yeah.
think that's gonna really, shit's gonna start getting really. It's gonna. The right, we think we're right so far, as in like the right is on the right, so it's not even anywhere near how right we're gonna end up going. Oh,
No,
it's disappeared.
I think that there is a point to that. Definitely. But I think it's been forced upon the country. I don't think it's a choice. I think it just comes down to the fact that people have seen so much shit caused by this population that it is turning people against them. And the only ones that don't see it are the ones that haven't experienced it.
Yeah, I saw something a couple of days ago that I think I said this yesterday as well. The one thing driving Islamophobia.
Yeah, Islam.
It's Islam's behaviour. If they don't like that, then maybe they need to change their behaviour.
Exactly. I mean, why do they have to go around slicing off bits from people's genitals for a start? I mean, they're obsessed with sex, but they don't seem to have any understanding of what sex actually is. They just seem to think of it as some sort of a punishment or a weapon. It's absolutely disgusting. And it is intolerable.
Yeah, it is intolerable, Jake, 100%. We should not be tolerating the intolerable, and that's exactly what we're doing at the moment. To a degree, but we're starting to not tolerate that because we're now openly talking about it and we're not allowing these conversations to be shut down.
Yeah, what Karl Popper called the paradox of intolerance.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, he's back.
Guys.
So, Bobby, what do you think about my plan that we send all of the Muslims to the moon so they can have their own place there and set up their own colony?
Well, why not? Why not? Right now, look. We've been talking about removing people. Look, I'm pretty sure we're all agreed on criminals in terms of pedos, terrorists, people that don't really, let's say, like this nation or the people or respect it. We all kind of agree that we don't really want those kind of people here. Then this second thing comes to whether you want the higher and the lower end workers. So obviously we've dealt with the pedos and the warmongers and all of those, right? So now we've got the foreign workers left, right? Low end and high end. I think we need to kind of get rid of them as well. Most of them. And I'm thinking with me, should I tell you something? Like with me, some of my motives are different. That's why it might sound a bit wild. Because I'm obviously kind of pro-working class on that as well. Right? So even though I'm a Muslim, I still kind of think that I know these people are taking our jobs. And I couldn't say stuff like that if I was in employment and stuff. And, oh, you can't go on YouTube on me, yeah? You've signed this disclaimer on your job, yeah? You can't do it, yeah? Like, you know, if I want this car show, like, fuck you, I have to say what I want now. You know? They've always tried to do that with us as well in this country as poor people. It's stopped us from saying what we want, regardless whether it's right or wrong, whatever it is. They always try to shut us up. I've noticed that everywhere, whether it's work, school, you know what I mean? I was like, and then if you don't shut this, oh, you're a bad person or a bad student or whatever, yeah? And I hold on, I've been a good student my whole life. Like, how could you say that? Just because I've got a different opinion now all of a sudden. And then you'll notice you'll start getting bad grades. Do you know? Because you've got a difference in opinion. So, you know, a lot of the stuff you have to just keep to yourself, even in the lefty uni and that. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so look, we get rid of terrorists and whatever, the pedos, the warmonger style, the people that feel like they want to take over, they're gone. Right? So then we're left with the workers. And I think most of the workers need to go as well. I think there needs to be a law where like a British-born person must be offered this job first, type of thing. Do you see what I mean? This is obviously in terms of helping the wealth of the nation and the people and getting people back to work. Yeah, because a lot of companies and that, they have their own issues and obviously all this EU mess and that. So look, then we're left with...
Yeah, Bobby, one question for you. How are you defining British in that regard?
Yeah, no, I'll come to it, because then we come to the third lot, which is like the British-born Asians like myself, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we're not English, but we're British-born. Now, maybe it's got to the point where people don't even want us here, right? So you've got the three layers, you've got the terrorists, you've got the workers, and then you've got...
I would go that
like,
far. I don't know if it's...
Yeah, just as an exercise.
That's why you say it, though. I can understand.
Yeah, just as an exercise, Jake, you know? Like, so these are like the different kind of levels of, let's say, ethnics in this country, right? We've got the war people, we've got the workers and whatever. Some of it's going to be a bit mixed up. We've got the radicals. We get rid of them buggers, right? So now it's the middle lot, the workers that may be doing good here and whatever. But truthfully, there's been reports of British doctors not being able to get jobs. And I know, Jake, you would have seen stuff on that and as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, how could that actually exist? Like, they use that excuse on people like me when I finished uni. Oh, your degree's not good enough. You went to a shit uni. Oh, who the hell do you think you are? And I'm like, hold on, it's a British uni. There's people from Pakistan that are dying to come here just to go to a normal uni and a normal school here. Do you know what I mean? I'm lucky enough, privileged enough to even get the standard education here and live through it and persevere.
The problem I've got though there, Bobby, with that, which is if we got rid of the so-called bad Muslims, the problem that I've got is the ideas that they have come from the same book. So how can we stop those ideas? Is
right.
I think what I would like to see happen. I'd rather in fact see that happen more than I would deportation, because I think that would solve more problems.
Yeah, right. I think the difference is, Jakes, is that I think Muslim behaviour of a lot of them or some of them is an issue, right? Yeah. Obviously, with some people, they believe Islam is the problem, or Islam or our book is the problem. So that is, a slight different. That is a difference in view, if that sense. Like, obviously, you're free to have that view. Can be hard to hear, but I made a pick of stuff. I made a pick of stuff. So,
But we also know, Bobby, that you're not one of those who's like that. So we understand that you know where we're coming from in that regard.
Sure,
and also,
look,
we're not aiming it at you personally as well.
Listen. Like one thing here. Look, I always talk about opportunities here and people not giving chances and that, right? In life, right? But look, on this channel, Wiz let me come on loads of times.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not silly like that. Like the people that give me chances, allow me to talk, allow me to mix. Yeah, I don't forget these things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. If that makes sense. I don't really forget those things. Even other people I've always thanked, like even George Galloway let me on his TV program a few times. Sarah Garvey let me on his show a couple of times. I thanked him. Lubna, like I said from originally, she let me on a few times. I don't know if she took me too seriously, but I said, there is serious things I can say, but something sometimes you can't. Right, and we're all on the internet, and at the same time, I think obviously we all want to raise our profile a little bit, which we haven't really been allowed to do. I haven't been allowed to raise my profile in my working life or general life, whatever. But maybe online we might have a chance, right? So where were we? You was talking about Islam being an issue, and I was talking about Muslim behaviour being an issue. I mean, I suppose I'll have my way of going about it and thinking of how to resolve what I think I can. Oh, bloody hell. It's going to keep ringing now as well.
That's reality calling.
Hello?
Who's that? Oh, it's Christianity. How can I help you?
The thing that has to change, that's really going to make a difference, because it will be a visible difference, is you've got to start with the big problem, which is that really is the book. That's where we need to focus, because that's where the ideas come from. And as long as the book exists, there's the potential for it to be interpreted in the way that it's being interpreted by people at the moment. And that I think is the issue. But I think to make a real visible difference, what you need to do is you need to stop this segregation of women. I think that is the big thing that people have got a problem with. Because when you see people with the burqas and you see that men and women don't mix, that is something that is so far beyond what we do in Britain that, oh, is she really? What a surprise.
I would also suggest it's not just the segregation, it's the objectification of women. They're treated like objects as far as compared to the way that we treat females.
Which makes it odd that the comment that we just saw.
I don't really like this cultural versus religion again, too much, but that's more of a cultural thing. See these Pakistani guys, Asian guys in their country, I'm just going to be honest, they can't, like I said, freely mix with women. They can't get women. So even if there is free mixing with women up there, the few, let's say there is bits and bobs, you have to be really lucky to be one of those guys that can be in on that part of society where you can freely mix a little bit, if that makes sense. Right? So see in England.
So is it kind of like, as you're growing up, you don't really mix with the girls, and then suddenly you're expected to get married, and married, you then separate still. So you're still never really mixing with the females at all, except for when they're doing a service for you. That's what it seems to me. Maybe I'm wrong in that. But it seems the only interaction men have is that women are doing something for them.
Yeah, the objectification is how we see that.
And that's something that obviously we don't think in that way.
But see when they come here, in their eyes, I know because I speak to some of them and that, and I just laugh and I find it funny, And I say, look, England's not what you think, and they're like, what do you mean? I goes, it's not what you think, and it's not even like how it was before, where there might have been welfare or whatever, or opportunities or growth, right? Like 30 years ago, or whatever. It's nothing like that now. And I goes, there's poor people in England. They're like, no way. Because trust me, you'll be surprised. There's poor people here sleeping on the street, and I goes, I don't believe you. Oh, he goes, trust me. I goes, that's what I'm telling you. Is people won't tell you that side of it. I guess England's done a fantastic job in showing the world that everything here is made of gold. I don't know how they did it. They overly advertised it, overly shot it, or what have they done? But I guess people have got the impression there's loads of money here, and that is really not like that. There's a lot of limitations here. Then I said to him about work and that, saying that, look, you want to come here to find work or live and that, because poor people here like myself, we can't really leave the country. Because, of course you can, you've got a British passport. Because no, we can't. Because if you're working class, you're poor, you don't own assets and that, right? You don't have free rent where you can, but mum, dad, I'll be back in about 6 months. I'm going to go backpacking and go look for some jobs and that. The whole gap year thing. Yeah, we can't do that because we can't gallivant around different countries, UAE, America, this and that, Switzerland. We can't do that. The EU passport, British passport's not powerful enough. Yeah, and they're like, no, because it's not. Because unless you've got money, unless you've got guarantors behind you, I know this because all my Asian friends do. I got Asian friends in America, India, America, Australia, and they have to pay like 50 grand, stuff like this as guarantors, minimum, so they can get into the country. Do you know what I mean? Right? So I know these kind of things. Like, look, this is how the proper way of doing it is like this, let's say, but it's still not worth it then.
I agree, and I think that when it comes to immigration, there should be stricter things in place. Like, for example, you should have a guarantor, you should have a job in place, you should have somewhere to live, you should have a certain amount of money in your bank account. And if you haven't got that there, and if your culture doesn't fit in our culture, then you're not coming in. I mean, that is common sense.
This is it. But in terms of let's say freedom of living and women, I said to him, it's not quite what you think. I goes, let's say for English people here, is it might be a bit more freer, where the women are a bit more free with you guys, whether you go to a pub, have a very casual conversation, get flirty without stepping over the line and getting all pedo, right? So with these guys, they think it's all fair game here. Everyone's all doing it like rabbits, you know what I mean? Yeah. And no one knows how to say no. Like they've got this impression in their head that like everyone's just up for gagging. Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, but this is the problem, because we were just looking at the statistics for Sweden, where it said that 71%, I think it was, 71% of the rapes there were done by immigrant Muslims.
Yeah. What happens, man, when they get to these countries, well, my final point was on that, Carl, was that when they get to these countries and realize pulling women here isn't easy. It's actually really hard to pull women in the West. Yeah? Really difficult to attract them. Make sure they even like you in the first place, right? It's not easy. And now you're an Asian in a 90-odd% white country. So your chances with women is getting halves. Do you know what I mean? So when within my 4% of Asian community, now I've got to find one which is a Sunni, which is Asian Muslim. And then there's like, shit, man, the percentage is getting smaller. But my point was, sorry, but I'll let you carry on now, Jake, was that they realize that it's not easy here, life's not easy here, women aren't easy here, and then they just explode. That's basically my research on that.
The way I see it is it's very simple. If a woman is interested in you and she wants to do something sexual with you, then that's perfectly fine. If she doesn't, you have absolutely no right to force yourself on her, either physically or verbally. And these people do not seem to understand that difference. They seem to think it's an entitlement of theirs, that even if they just speak to a woman, that gives them the right to have sex with her. And they have to understand that is not only not correct, it is criminal, and there needs to be serious repercussions for that, because it's not on.
Yeah. Can I add something, if that's okay? Just a quick point. I think one of the things that's caused this problem, and I've gained this opinion from watching documentaries on Afghanistan, on Iraq, on Pakistan, various countries that, you know, these sorts of issues exist in. And what seems to be the common denominator is that segregation is actually responsible for these problems.
Yeah.
And why do I say that? Well, exposure to a particular thing causes you to become numb to a particular thing. So if you remove that numbing of said thing, it would become almost impossible to control yourself. And I can understand that. I can understand why these men would find it hard to control themselves, because they've never been forced to control themselves. They've not had to live like that. And if they had the opportunity to live like that, things might start to change. But unfortunately, Bobby, your religion, you know, rightly or wrongly, I'm not here to say rightly or it is right or it is wrong. Your religion does push that perspective for men and for women. It pushes that perspective, and I think it's a shame because, you know, at the end of the day, you guys believe in God, right? You guys believe in God. Whether you believe in Jesus being God, whether you believe it's, you know, Allah and it's only the Father, and sorry, you guys don't use the word Father. It's God, and that God cannot have a son. Whatever, I really don't care. What's important is that you believe in God. If you believe in God, that means you hold yourself accountable for your actions, because you know that you're going to pay for them. Well, you have faith that you're going to pay for them.
I also
think I mean, a lot of people, if they believe in faith and that, right? One of the things is that, you know, what Muslims we believe here is that your own body will attest against you for any badness or crimes you've done. So, I mean, this could be bad Muslims, poorly educated Muslims, Muslims that are forgetting they're Muslims, Muslims whose emotions, manly emotions, have overtaken them, Eastern flipping rage. I don't know. Do you see what I mean? It's a bit difficult for me to bottle it as well as an Asian. I'm trying to make sense of it as well. Like, I do speak to my Asian friends about it. The other night we were speaking about going to the beach, you know, because it's hot and that. And then the subject of nudist beaches come up. And he was saying that, yeah, there's nudist beaches here and this and that, and he goes, some of his workers, like immigrants and that, because they're thinking of going to the beach and that. And I goes, I swear that's like a nudist one or whatever. Are you sure they want to go there and that? Then he had to tell them that, by the way, this is a nudist beach. You sure you want to go? This, oh no, Brett, change it. You know what I mean? Right? This kind of thing. But then we heard of like another bunch, and they were getting excited. You know? Like, let's go and see a bunch of naked old white women on the beach. Like, there was another group of people we were talking about, and they're like, our Bobs, man, like our people, like sometimes they're not growing up enough to kind of just fucking, this is what they do here. They're like sunbathing and tanning the whole skin, and that's why they wear the tight bikinis, and, you know, to allow the color to come through and all this and that, and then fucking, you know what I mean, our lot come and start perving and making us all look like dickheads, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're aware. That's cool Asian guys. We're aware of this, isn't it? The idiot wants to make us all look like spastics, man.
It's wrong. If you see a naked woman, it's not your right to go and have sex with her. You can look as much as you like, admire as much as you like, but you have no right to get anywhere near her. And these people need to understand that women have rights. Just because in their beliefs they can do whatever they like to women whenever they like, doesn't mean that you can do that with our women.
Jake, this is the other thing I want to say. What was I going to say? It was about fuck what I was going to say now, about women in their country and them trying to make it work for themselves more there, to be honest. I've got a friend also that married, he's a black Muslim, married another black Muslim lady in one of their countries, I think it's Ghana or something. And he goes that she was like, yeah, like assumed that she was going to move here or something. Like, and I said, I gotta make sure she understands, what your plans are. He's not a rich guy or anything, but his dad's up there or whatever. And then he goes, there's a girl here trying to get married, this and that. And I goes, mate, you ain't got no better options, yeah? You show me a picture of her and stuff. I go, look, she looks pretty decent and that, and whatever, yeah? Like, there's worse ways you could do this. I goes, why don't you try it? Because we need people from our kind of upbringing generally here to kind of maybe try these things, these half arranged marriage things and this, and let's see what bloody happens. Everyone likes talking about it because you try, you're young enough, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they go, look, this is how you just think of it. Just like, just get married to her, just keep it easy, don't get in her face too much. Is this the gap between the countries might actually help? And then after this whole thing about moving around and this and that come up. And he goes, nah, Bob, man, I let her know, man. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, I let her know. No, I'm moving there. I'm building a house there. He goes, no, I'm not coming here. And it's like, yeah, because that's kind of how it should be. I go, look, if we can go, let's say, back to a Muslim country or Muslim area, I'm not saying we have to or we should, or I'm trying to flip in, being some mental Muslim trying to back for the other side. That's not the point. I'm just exercising the ideas with you guys. Do you know what I mean? That's all. Yeah. Just exercising the thought. Yeah. So I just think that, you know, if those opportunities were available casually, like imagine if I find like a Muslim in another country, whatever, rich, good looking, I'm like, yeah, mate, fellas, I'm gone. That's one more statistic down for you guys. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I go to Dubai, which I would never do because it looks awful. But if I were to go to Dubai, I would have to abide by their laws. So why do people think they come here and retain their own laws and not follow ours? Because they have to learn. Just because they believe that their beliefs come from God, we don't.
Mm.
And they
yeah, no, of course, Jay. No, the other thing I was going to say, no, that's what my point was. You were talking about, you guys talk about repatriations and colonial stuff and that. Now, I've spoken to a lot of my Muslim friends and I said, look, man, because sometimes, you know, you our people's, whatever, not me, but associated with my community, because take things a bit too far, all that. And I can think about it, look at it logically, yeah? Because in England, they've allowed us to open how many thousands of mosques? How many businesses? I haven't benefited from the businesses or the money and that, fair enough, but other people have. A lot of people have, a lot of Asians have, a lot of Muslims have. Because I haven't benefited, but as a community, we have benefited hugely. Do you know what I mean? Because we got a lot more out of life here than we would have done in Pakistan or India or Bangladesh, right? And then sometimes when you speak like that, Asian people don't really like hearing it. It's like, look, but the bottom line is our countries are fucking shit, bro, those back home countries. Yeah, they'll never say that.
It's a bit like if you were to say, you've invited a Muslim into your home and you would expect them, therefore, to follow your rules. What you wouldn't expect is the moment you go out to work, they rape your missus. And I think that's how people feel. I think that's how people are feeling about how some Muslims are treating the country. It's like they've been allowed in and they're completely taking advantage of the many privilege that they've been given by coming into this country. And I think that it's just so far removed from what we consider acceptable that it's just becoming unworkable, I think, in a lot of areas.
Bobby, where are your... Just a quick question, Bobby. Where are your family originally from, as in your grandparents and so on?
Sure. I'm originally from Luton. I kind of live up the road from Tate and Tommy, who I used to before, but I'm older than them. But I'm from the same neck of the woods as them. Parents, dad's from Pakistan, Karachi. Mum from Kenya. And before that, my grandparents and that, some are Indian, mostly Indian. Some possibly before that. My family say maybe a little bit Pathan, Afghanistan, but I don't know. But as far as I go back to India, really, after that's a myth. It's anyone's guess.
Yeah.
So Pakistan, Kenya, and India.
I was going to follow up with the question that surely, you know, I can appreciate for some Muslim countries that aren't as well developed as others, say, you know, Saudi Arabia is far more developed than Pakistan. I can understand why maybe Pakistani Muslims don't want to go back home because it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience, even if they could practice their religion more freely. If you're from, say, Saudi Arabia or other Islamic countries that don't have that have the infrastructure, have, you know, the ability to support their people, so on, wouldn't they genuinely be happier there? Like, what? I don't understand that.
Yeah, great question. Listen, I'm just going to pop back in the car. I remembered your question about differences between here and there about being Muslim or whatever. Hold on. Yeah. Don't worry about my food rubbish away. Mum's asking me if I threw the rubbish away. She was gonna come in the kitchen and start asking me to do bare shit, bro. I thought I gotta get out of here.
If it's one thing that's true, there are some things that are universal across all cultures.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, cool. Like you said about going back to Muslim, yeah, great question, great question. Right? I've also, look, me growing up as a British Muslim, like, I've had, like, shortcomings, obviously, with jobs. Maybe shortcomings in my religion where it's been slightly compromised, fair enough. But if I want to practice my faith more, there are more Islamic countries to go to, right? Without doubt. And they've got money now. So, you know, you've got the poor ones, and then you've got the rich ones now, right? Now, I've spoken to many Muslims, and I've said to them that, look, there's no money here. And if you want to be a properly, fully devout Muslim, you're going to follow everything, let's say outside, put all the terrorist notions aside, or whether it's related to the book or the religion or not. Like, if you're going to follow everything, cover your kids up, walk around, you know, quietly and not talk to no one and keep yourself to yourself and have all this kind of singular, religious, invisible kind of existence of no materials, no materialism, no fancy cars. It's like, if you want to live totally like that, because you can do it. And I've said to people, because I've got people from Pakistan, they say, oh yeah, Bob, like I said earlier, I want to come over. And I said, look, what's more important to you, money or your faith? That's Islam is more important. Like, look, if you actually want to be a Muslim and a good Muslim, you're better off staying where you are. If that's the most important thing to you. Like, in a sense, because if you come here, because anything could happen. Like, if you come here, because you're going to have a hard time readjusting, fitting in. If you have children, if you do manage to get married, they're going to have a hard time readjusting and fitting in. And when they grow up, they're going to find it difficult again. Do you see what I mean? And again, and the sad thing is, it's not quite cut and dry, because if you're rich and you're foreign and you come here, you're probably not going to have much of a problem, because you're probably catered for. You know, if you go for a top school and this and that. You know, if you're a rich Indian person or a rich Chinese person, there's been loads of Chinese been coming in, middle class ones, because you're all going to get catered for. Like, you know, in my area, South London, they got this area called Imperial something. Not Imperial something. Imperial Wharf? Well, I don't know. Imperial something. They erected a brand new train station. Yeah, and they'd never build anything in this area. Oh, we're too broke. Oh, Lambeth ain't got no money. It's all been stolen. Oh, we gave it all to the pedos. All been fucking little kids under in the car park or whatever, underground, Lambeth Council. All this shit starts coming out, and there's no money in this area. It's just ragged. You know what I mean? Holes everywhere, everything. Yeah, money's always disappearing. So you think, hold on, what's going on here then? Do you know? Because you've obviously thought it was going to be easy to deal with this, and it ain't, obviously, right? So yeah, with these guys, when they come in, I said to them, look, being Muslim, it ain't totally easy, and I guess it was never totally easy, but it was kind of better being a Muslim here in the early days when there weren't many Muslims, in a weird sort of way. Because before I was young,
that's exactly the point. Yeah. Because I think
when I was young, oh man, like I feel weird. It's just me. I'm the only Asian kid in the classroom or whatever, and all of that. Yeah, but afterwards, I started to realize actually things are actually better then. Do you know what I mean? Right? Because the quality of people, the quality of character and stuff was generally better of people. Obviously, mostly English people around me. Right? So
what did that tell you then, Bobby?
No, of course I know what it tells me. Why do you think I'm on here, bro? Like, my actual life experience.
Do you think maybe they're staying because they think they're doing a service to Islam?
Different reasons. Yeah, most of them are here for money, bro. Most of them are here for money. They just want money. Most people are greedy. Most blokes, whatever, they're here for money. They want money. They want good jobs, bad jobs. They want businesses. They want money, good with the wrong way, the right way. They don't care, you know? That moral compass
is that I think it's either 48 or it's 52. I can't remember which it is, but the half of the Muslim population in this country are unemployed.
That's right.
And is that because that is purely down to the women not working, or is it the men are not working?
But there's so many reasons I could find. Yeah, like what I found is that if they give a job to a Muslim person, if they do give a job, these little things I find that you can't say in open society. They'll give the Muslim lady a job. They won't give the Muslim man a job. Like, do you know what I mean? This is what they do. So then, like, I don't know, these companies have this thing of like, oh look, we've ticked off this DEI thing. We've got a Muslim in, we've got Asian in, and a female. All 3 tick boxes. This looks really good. Let's do this one. So then, what happens? All the Asian Muslim women get the jobs and that. Then what happens? Right? It creates this toxic environment where the women are attacking the men. Well, I can get a job, and I'm a female, and I'm a victim. I'm a Muslim woman. Yeah, we're like the most softest people in society, and we're like, you know what I mean, this and that. And if I can do it, and you're a man, and you're a Muslim man, how can't you get a job? And they're like, hold on a minute, people don't like Muslim men. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a part of that to it. Some of it's education. Some of it they don't want to work for other people. Some of it is that we want to open. Yeah.
Just a quick one, fella. I think maybe one of the reasons that maybe the females are being hired and not the males is it's kind of a consequence to the feminist movement that occurred, or the feminist revolution that occurred in this country, and it's just kind of stuck.
I would just like
to
point out
the Muslim women don't understand that. They don't think, hold on, it's not this and that. It's because obviously the feminism that's obviously affected like Western women and their employment, right? Employment opportunities. They benefited off of that, but they don't realise that.
I don't think it's a good thing, by the way. I do not think it's a good thing, because whether you're male or female, you should both have the same equality to the access of the job.
That's right.
But this is something that I think is worth mentioning here is that, and I do mean this as a compliment, that is the first time I've ever seen a Muslim man, when a woman is speaking, stop talking and let them speak. And that's a good thing for you, Bobby. It shows that you understand our culture well. Because normally...
That's why I'm on it. I want to show you that I did learn the cultural ways of England. But people don't always get to see it. Yeah. People don't always get to see it with me. Like, they think that I'm going to be like one of these fucking arsehole ones. That's the difficult thing, do you know what I mean?
But how do we know who are the arsehole ones? That's the problem.
You don't know. That's the unfortunate thing. You wouldn't know. And it's
I tell you one way.
It's the hard.
One way we can know is, I look at you, you're dressed like a British bloke, fine. But if you're wearing one of those dresses that they wear and those hats, you're just creating barriers then, aren't you, really?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the clothing now. So then, with me, I grew up like you guys, wearing Western clothes, American clothes, you know, bit of French clothes, whatever, English clothes, English shirts, all of this normal stuff. Yeah, Europeans do. So these guys try to make it a thing, wearing the foreign Middle Eastern clothes and trying to make it a thing, you know, a fashion. And they just kind of a little bit been pushing it in people's faces. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a time and a place. I mean, last time I dressed like that I think it was about 10 years ago for a wedding. Do you know what I mean? It's about it, right? Yeah. And, you know, but walking around like that in the daytime, you know, it's not for me. But I have seen people of other faiths walk around like that as well, though, in the daytime. Like, you know, when you go to the central London, like, you do see like Jews always dressed up in their clothes and that, right? And I went there for an interview once, years and years ago, for some job in the central city of London. And I see a bunch of Jewish guys, all dressed in their clothes, right? So I just got talking to them, you know, just out of interest. You're right, guys, what's going on? This and that. Because I don't really go to that part of London often. It's expensive and that, as you guys know. So I'm like kind of all positive, all excited. I'm seeing people around. I'm seeing these guys. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, is it a religious day for you guys today or something? And they're like, oh, no. Because, you got all your clothes and that on and stuff like this. And they're like, at first I thought they were Muslim, if that makes sense. Yeah, first I thought they were Muslim because just, you know, for peripheral region. Then obviously when I was staying near them, I was like, oh. And then they were like, oh, yeah, no, we're Jewish and that. I was like, oh, okay. And I goes, oh. And I goes, yeah, so what are you guys doing here then, all dressed up and that? Like, do you see what I mean? I'm still talking like that. Because no, we work here. Like, you're allowed to go to work dressed like that? Do you know what I mean? So you guys, you know, go City of London. So people do. I mean, I'm not the kind of person to start on Jews or this and that. It's not what it is, but I did see that. I always tell you guys what I've seen in my life experience. That's the first way I can go. You know what I mean? So I'm like, right, you're allowed to wear religious kind of clothes to work in a bank? They've always told me that if you're coming anywhere near a bank or any like these branded places, shirt, tie, all of that, yeah? So I thought that was a bit bizarre. So, you know, when you guys say about the Muslim guys dressing up like this, yeah, I mean, I particularly don't really like those type of clothes as well. My flavors, my tastes are more European anyway in dressing up, right? Like you guys know. I think it looks uncool. And sometimes I think those clothes, for me, it gives like this stench of being thick. You know, when people dress like that?
Yeah.
To me, it kind of gives me the impression these people are a bit thick. Like, I don't know whether that's just something in me, but when I see people dress like that, like, it's almost like they're dressed down to me.
Yeah, exactly. They're dressed like they're from a third world country and they're in a third world country. Yeah.
But I do get it, you know, I do kind of get it. Like, and then when you talk to them, a lot of the times they are a bit stupid and that. And the only time you can get away, one of my friends dresses like this. Yeah. This one you're not going to find funny. One of my Muslim friends is really rich, right? He's got properties and that, yeah? And everything, yeah? Kids are in private school or that, right? So then I'm poor and I'm broke and that, right? So then he goes to me, oh, Bob, like, oh, you know, you should do more for your religion and, you know, doing more behaviors and that, whatever, yeah? And I go, yeah, I do. I go, look, sometimes I feel a little bit disheartened and that because things aren't always going my way in life and that. Do you know what I mean? Right? So sometimes then I feel a bit lazy on my faith and doing certain things and that, right? And get a bit down and that, and I don't always do everything, right? So then he'll be like, oh yeah, and he's like really positive. He's like, oh no, Bobby, like, you know, we you know, he'll be like very kind of positive with his life and with Islam, with that. He's got money, you see. So they'll be like, oh no, Bobby ain't quite like that, and and he'll be going dressing all those Muslim clothes, Pakistani clothes and that. And I goes, bro, you can only get away with doing what you're doing. Yeah. It's because you got loads of money. Because if you dress like that and you walk around saying the things you do, talking about Islam and how great it is and how you went UAE this year, last year, and you know what I mean? Just doing enjoying all the Muslim positive stuff of the world, if that makes sense. He's got a taste of all of it. I never got it. Yeah. But he's enjoying all the Muslim stuff. Yeah.
Well, the thing with
so I'm like, look, it's all right for you. When you're a millionaire, people will listen to you. Even if you're, you know what I mean, you look, I mean, dress up in Middle Eastern clothes and that. I guess that's what it is. I goes, look, if I dress up in Middle Eastern clothes and I start talking, no one will listen to me. It's only because they know you got money. And he goes, no, it can't be that, Bob, because I'm telling you, they're listening to you because you're rich and you dress like that. If you used to dress like that and you had no money and you try to speak to people about religion, they'll throw flipping tomatoes at you, man. Do you know what I mean? This is pretty much how it is. What I mean by that is that people are getting a bit annoyed about people that seemingly look uneducated and ignorant, trying to tell them that this religion is right. So hold on, mate. And I have a problem with that as well, because I'm like, hold on, I know you kind of people. You didn't fucking concentrate in school. You didn't concentrate in college. You're out causing trouble. You didn't go uni, and now you're 26. You're bloody out there preaching Islam. And the time to behave and be a good person in the younger years, you weren't doing that. Now all of a sudden you think you're smart and you're clever and you're all Islamic and you know all the knowledge and education and this and that and what's right and wrong. And that's what I don't like, because when I was a child, I was really well behaved. I was really well behaved in my high school. I was really well behaved in college, uni. So they don't say, hold on, he's a well behaved man, he's a well-rounded guy and a well-rounded Muslim. They don't say that. The people that kind of just never studied and that, all of a sudden growing a beard and shaved mustache and they're standing around tables, they're the ones representing them. No thanks.
They don't get that British people in general don't like public religion. Even people that are religious.
Yeah. They never understood that. They never understood that from the get-go. I knew this from the 80s and 90s, that like, even though we have a Christian kind of backdrop, people aren't that madly into it. And neither do they want to be madly into it. But just because they're not madly into the Christian religion, they don't want another stronger faith coming in saying, oh, we're doing it better than you and we've got more, more numbers and more devout people. So if you guys don't want to do the devout thing, we'll do it. Like, I think what people do want Christianity, but they want like a casual version, which is just like tolerant, peaceful, and just a calmer way of living. And go on, guys. Go on.
Push back there, because there are people that are very, very passionate about their faith, very strong about, very mad about their faith. But what they tend not to do is show it publicly in a way that the Islamic faith does frequently. Like, we don't, for example, see groups of Christians doing prayers in Trafalgar Square. There's no need to do that, because we don't need to assert dominance, which is what I felt that move actually was all about. And I thought that it sent a really, really bad signal across London, that it said essentially, look, we're in control of this place. And I think a lot of people would have interpreted it in that way. And really, when I think when a population goes into another country, what they should be doing is they should be saying, right, I've wanted to come to this country because I aspire towards that society and I want to be a contributor towards that society. But instead, people are coming in and they're saying, no, fuck that society. Our society is much better and they should do things our way. And that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah, I think their mentality is more of a gimme grant mentality. I don't even think most of the time it's real. I think some people have that thing of let's bring this land a religion. And I think that is a fringe. But I think most of them are more here for getting money, you know, whichever way they can. Ripping off the place, getting it legit, getting it the wrong way. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
If they were given money to fuck off, would they do it?
Yeah, they would, and then they come back for more because that's actually what's been happening.
That's the point. And that's the point. It's like the borders and that have to be stiffened up and controlled and that, right? And then all those kind of things can be done. But you know what it is, man? You know what it is as well? Shall I tell you one thing, guys? There's so many things we could say. There's one thing that's catching everyone else out. Why the whole nation and people are talking about these things? You know what our leaders are bothered about? They're bothered about Brexit still. They don't care. They just think us all just pissing in the wind, right? They're like, okay, these are all talking about immigration and that. We haven't even changed one thing, 1% of any metric, yeah, to help matters, yeah. They haven't done a goddamn thing. They lied throughout the whole thing. It's unbelievable, guys. Look,
about that.
From Cameron.
Reverse it as well, right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Cameron, Theresa May, Boris, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak. All of them, we're going to sort it out. We're going to sort it out. And they didn't do a goddamn thing, any of them.
No, that's
any
true.
of them. I think Gucci came close with his Rwanda deal. If it was true, it was actually half a decent idea. It sounds fucking a bit clownish. It was actually half a decent idea.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was actually half a decent idea. It was the only one. And I was like thinking, he's getting cussy. He's the only one that's actually come over. But actually, an actual half a plan to sort some of it out. But like, they just lied. They didn't do a goddamn thing to stop any of this immigration. They could do it anytime they wanted. Look at what's the other country like? There's other countries like Hungary and Poland. They're tiny countries. They're just like, nah, bugger off, mate. Just stopped everything. And they'd rather pay the fines to the EU than let people in.
Yeah, because it's cheap. Pay $1 million. What I wondered.
Would it be okay if I asked a question? If that's all right.
Go for it.
First, before I forget it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Sorry, because my mind's all going to. What I wondered is, Bobby, is how much of an affiliation do you have for your heritage? Is it important to you, or is it for you that all you've ever known is British?
Great question.
Yeah. All I've ever known is England.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not denying where I have come through. Let's say through my forefathers and that. But I think there needs to be this kind of a slight shift in thinking of like, with us Asian people, we have this whole motherland, and fatherland like type thing. Yeah, they have these words which no one uses anymore. Right? So so like with me, like I always just thought, like even with the way the laws work, it's like where you're born, it says British, you got your name written on it, your date of birth and time, whatever, yeah. So that's what I think should be the standard, is like where you're born, in a sense. And anyone that has hankering for the old countries, I think, I don't know whether that's just their family gassing them up or their dad saying, we're originally from Iraq or Iran or something, and this is what's so amazing about our country, and just trying to feed them that way and gassing them up that way, like, you know, saying that, no, don't forget our old country, even though England's England, but our country's actually Iran or whatever, or Iraq or whatever it is, Like, I don't know exactly how they've been spoken to by their parents and that as well, so I don't know if there's a bit of that, you know, where like children have got gleeful look because their parents have been gassing it up, you know what I mean, the old country.
But you yourself, when you hear Pakistan, it doesn't really mean anything to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's so
mean much.
Yeah, so far away from you, so far away from the culture that you've lived in. It is literally a foreign country.
Exactly that. Yeah. Exactly that, and it's very difficult to get that out of Asians as a thought process. So that, look, because a lot of people are, oh shit, if I say that I'm not Pakistani, people are gonna say I'm a sellout and I'm some flipping coconut. I don't know what I'm saying, But I've actually thought about this. Like, look, hold on. What do I know? I know my friends from my first school. I know these people. I know this. This is the experience I've had. I'm just going to go on what I've lived. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I would guess as well, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I would guess that if you had been born into a Christian family, for example, you would probably have the same sort of attitude towards religion that you've got for your Muslim cultural background, which is that you were born into it, you're not really that bothered by it, it just happens to be that's what you were raised as. And you can take it or leave it.
To an extent, I mean, obviously, I may be biased to say that. No, you know what? I'm glad I'm a Muslim, and I was somewhat born Muslim, and I believe in my faith. And to me, it's the correct faith for me. But again, you don't know how much of that is just, favoritism and whatever, convenient to say, right? Yeah. So I would never know that.
Either. But I think Ace had a question.
Oh, I thought she went quiet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I thought you had a question, Ace.
Sorry, it's kind of cut out there on my, I think it's my internet's going up and down. Because what I was going to ask, actually, what you've just asked, Jake, is actually kind of connected to what I was about to ask. So, okay, so I'm going to say these things, Bobby, because I don't want to put a target on your back. Because if you say them, that could put you in a difficult position, and I appreciate that, and I understand it. So we are aware, as British citizens, that Islam maybe does not have friendly intentions towards the West. So going back to what Jake said earlier, how do we distinguish that? And you as a Muslim, you clearly value British society, you dress how we do, you interact with us, you integrate. How would you go about, as a Muslim, helping England to define what would you suggest that could help us to define, right, not a friendly Muslim, because that's where we're really stuck, because it's like Jake said, 100%. As far as we're concerned, anyone who follows that book has the same ideology, has the same end goal, but clearly you are, like Jake said earlier, you've let me speak, you've let me ask my questions, and maybe other Muslim men wouldn't do that. So you've clearly got a bit more of a Western.
No, this is not the way. This is not the way. No, shut up, woman.
I think it's worth mentioning as well.
Yeah, no.
We've got to give Bobby.
Cut Jake off. He's a woman.
I have respect for Bobby because he's very honest in his opinions. He just tells things like it is. And also, when people have just spent the past 2 hours slagging off your religion, you've got to give him respect for coming up here and speaking. And
yeah, for sure.
I respect that, and the fact that Bobby will sit and take the piss as well, I think is great.
So just to make it clear, Bobby, if you're not comfortable to answer that question, then don't, because I don't want you to put a target on your own back. You seem like a fairly decent guy. If you were willing to answer, what would your answer be? How would we go about distinguishing the difference? How would you do it as a Muslim?
I'll be honest with you, after everything we've been speaking about for months, maybe years, on and off, whatever, on all these channels and that, it's basically, this is one of the main issues, one of the main crusts. How do you identify the differences? I don't fully know, to be is the correct answer, but I'm glad that's the bit we need to get to and concentrate on.
A slightly different question that might help with Ace's question.
But one quick thing is that those that are willing to, let's say, might be small, but the ones that aren't embarrassed to raise the UK flag, that might be a sign.
Well,
if you know what I mean? I'm happy wearing the England flag and raising and that, but a lot of Asians and Muslims won't. They're like, they're colonizers. Do you know what I mean?
If you were an imam, what would you do to help the people who are your congregation to understand British culture much better? How do you think you could influence them to change their ways?
Obviously, you see, some of the things that we speak about could be reframed and kind of like almost like a a re-education or an additional kind of education through like religious talkers or whatever, to kind of just re-explain what England is and explain just the history of it more, how Islam even got here, how we have many facilities here. England's been good hosts to Muslims. Obviously we've got mosques, we've got halal meat, all of this stuff, right? Explain this kind of thing. There's aspects, the positives in that. I don't think a lot of that has been spoken about.
No. Do you think that
in terms of telling people to be a bit more thankful and grateful?
Do you think there's more that could be done then at a community level?
Yeah, on that kind of talk, at least half of it's about that. That look, by the way, yeah, the stuff we've got here, you'd be flipping, we're really lucky. It's not like, oh, we've got 3 mosques as a token.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've got thousands. Do you know what I mean? So your point about, sorry, brother, that's why I remember your point about repatriations. When people talk about repatriations, I say to people, I say, look, the fact that we've got all these mosques and stuff here, ain't that enough? I know it's not directly connected, but if these people are absolute arseholes, they wouldn't let us do this.
Yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't let us build these mosques. They wouldn't let us pray. They wouldn't let us, you know what I mean? If they're like this, because you know what I mean? If you really believe that they're that bad, then you should, and you harbor that kind of fear about them, you should leave. But go try to find other countries that let us do this.
Yeah,
I was just about to raise that point, because if a Christian was to go to an Islamic country, we would not be allowed to ring our bell. We would not be allowed to repair our churches. We would not be allowed to build new churches. We would not be allowed to congregate for mass prayer in our churches. So
yeah,
it's a really great.
It's a bit half-half, eh? It's a bit half-half ace, because obviously here capitalism and whoever's got money, in a sense, and a lot of Muslims have money, foreign money and that as well. And whoever's got money and whoever can afford the properties, then the businessmen are only happy to take the millions. You know what I mean? Oh, I can make this big building here that's empty for 10 years. I can fit 30,000 Muslim worshippers in there a week, 1,000 a day or whatever, 2,000 a day will become, you know what I mean? Whatever will come through a day. Government will be like, oh yeah, sure, fantastic business plan. Oh yes, and then you know what I mean. Next person will be like, yeah, give us the deposit for this, and then you know what I mean. Do you see what I mean? It's just like the car showroom industry. You bring a banger to me, I'll be like, yeah, cool, I can make this into a runner for you. Do you know what I mean? Sell it out. That's what it is.
Yeah, we can say that for this country, but we can't say that, unfortunately, for any Islamic country that's out there. It's part
so
of
with
your
other
religion.
Muslim countries,
Literally states
with other Muslim countries, it's not quite as strict as that. Yeah, no, it's not quite as strict as that. It's a bit half-half. It's not as easy as it is here. I agree to that, right? But they do kind of have places there, and if they're, from what I haven't been abroad much, right? So I don't really want to speak for other countries too much, right? And I mean, from what I've seen on the internet, they do allow Christians to kind of protect churches or like refurbish them, stuff like this. Some Muslim countries do allow them to build churches, but I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not totally clear on like which Muslim countries are a bit more lenient, which ones aren't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I am really interested in all this because I do find loads of stuff, man, like fascinating stuff about the world. Like, there was loads and loads of churches in Saudi Arabia back in the day along the eastern coast, but no one talks about it. They're all empty. They're still there, but no one uses them.
Yeah, that's
you see what I mean?
because a lot of, all of North Africa, Egypt, was Christian before it was Islamic. So
that's right. That's right. Now I watch a lot of programs on all those things as well. It is interesting. Yeah. So anyway, so what was the other point? Yeah.
I was going to ask one last question, and I think I'm done with all the questions. Would you say it would be fair for Christians to enact the rules on Muslims that Muslims enact the rules on Christians? So, for example, there are, and it is indisputable, it's in your religion, it states that it's still there. It states that literally in your religion, it states that we are not allowed to rebuild or refurbish or repair our churches. So if we applied that to Muslims, do you think that would be fair? Because that's what you apply to us in your countries.
Yeah, sure. And see, this is the thing. See, look, this is guess what, get a bit hairy, because here it's like open game, almost like business. Yeah. Other countries kind of have more of a religious kind of, oh, we can't do this because of our religion, not necessarily a money thing or whatever. That's very tricky to answer, but obviously, on the face of it, then tit for tat, really, isn't it? What's fair is fair, isn't it? Like, you do the same here, same there. I mean, that'd be the simplest way for me to kind of answer that. So I don't really have a proper answer, but yeah, obviously it's unfair. It's seemingly unfair. I mean, this whole relationship and breakdown with Christianity and Islam and that, and even the Jewish religion, I find it uncomfortable as well, to a point, because when I grew up, I kind of grew up studying all of them to a point, if that makes sense. Even though I'm a Muslim, I understood Islam came after Christianity and the Jewish religion, and how that region and the Middle East all connects, and how all the religions connect up. And I've grown up thinking more on that lines, if that makes sense, as in more of like an Abrahamic kind of thinker in terms of religion, culturally English. But a lot of people have got these hard lines that, we're this, and we're part of the Wahhabi Sunni Nata clan, and and we're part of the Shia, and we do this and we do that. And do you know what I mean? There are people that go a bit hard line in certain sections. Like, and I kind of just see it as like world kind of history, Middle Eastern history, and kind of like try to, I suppose, with the rose tinted glasses, see how these things kind of came about and formed. It's a shame that the whole thing's kind of got it where everyone's at each other's throats, which I'm trying to obviously.
We're all trying to claim we're right about the same subject, and that's never going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all think that everybody thinks the way that we do, and that, unfortunately, that isn't true.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the only other way, I'm not saying I'm not madly, crazily different to you guys, because culturally, English, British, and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have some differences in faith and whatever I do. We're all like individuals ultimately. But yeah, like the whole point of using our English culture where we could actually speak openly without me making you guys angry, without pissing you guys off. I'm sure you'll have got better things to do on your weekend. You'd rather have a pleasant conversation than we all be shouting at each other like Piers Morgan and them. Like, can you imagine these guys have all got the best education in the world, loads of money, been to the best schools, but they can't even talk like us for a couple of hours.
Exactly. Do you know what, Bobby? I was actually thinking the exact same thing. Like, how is it that I'm not a qualified journalist? No one here is. In fact, the probably most qualified person here would be Jake. He doesn't down-talk people. You don't down-talk people. I try not to, and if I have, I do apologise. That was not my intention. Wiz doesn't down-talk people.
No.
And I would rather engage in this type of conversation all day long than listen to Piers Morgan ranting about absolute bullshit, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
And that's part of my plan.
Whole afternoon agreeing.
That's part of my plan. That's part of my plan to kind of use up these kind of people to say that, look, you said we're too thick to work for your companies. You said that we're too stupid and aggressive and too feral to come and work in your TV studios. You said that we were too violent and too aggressive working class people. We swear and this and that and F and blind too much, so we can't come in your TV studios and do interviews. We can't have jobs in your offices as video cameramen, as office men or anything. All of them BBC, ITV, Channel 4. I'm calling them all out. Because they'll never give people like us a job. They'll say, you lot are too poor. Or your faces don't fit. But look at our mannerisms compared to this.
Yeah. You're right.
We're meant to be poor people. I don't mean that in a derogative way, but we're meant to be like the plebs. The people that don't know how to speak English properly, the people that are unrefined.
Yeah,
this is what they said about us.
Yeah,
this is what it is. I'm more pissed about stuff like that than the Muslim and Christian thing and that. The fact that like they just think the common man is an idiot.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, what you've just said there is what people should be focusing on, because the real enemy is the government system that's in place, which is what we need to get rid of. And yes, we've got a massive Islamic problem. We know that. But I've said on here before that when you put it into context, it's not as big a problem as it's made out to be through media. And I do stand by that. And I recognise that certain places have a much more severe problem than others. That's true. The main problem that we have got is the system of leadership that we have. And that is what we need to change.
Agreed.
Yeah, and these guys, like, look, I was just talking about TV students, the people, the MPs and that, they've had these jobs for years. And these are like half the families and that, they're like dynasties and that. It's like, they think they've got a right to those jobs in the government and that. And they've been hogging those positions and the power of signatures for these legal documents that run our country for years and years and years. Now they're crying because they think that they're all going to get thrown away. And they're worried about their jobs. It's not even necessarily that they're worried about the state of the nation or the type of laws that another regime might put through or not put through or whatever they're going to do, whatever their plans are. They're just worried that they're all going to lose their cozy little jobs and their little crooked scams and their ULEZ scams where the money like don't get spent on the road, the council scams, the council money goes missing. They're seeing that all this is going to end for them as well. Do you see? I mean, it was corruption. That's what it is. They want their easy job, but they can sit in the office, get 200 grand a year and not do anything. Well, us all slugging it out for £5 an hour minimum wage and that.
So why won't they change their behaviour? Because surely if they recognise their behaviour is causing the problem and they change it to be more integrated, then surely they know the fact that we've let them in, that we would be more accepting of them. So surely not changing their behaviour is counterproductive for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, look, there's another little element I want to bring to this. I don't know how much of it I'll explain. But you see, when people go abroad, they have this kind of holiday mindset.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, look, I'm on holiday, yeah. And they're like more open, social, and more talky and friendly and more expressive than they normally would be. Like I went on one stag do, and we went, this is back in 2014. So we've gone, and a couple of guys we went with, they never talk or anything, never really say much, not really animated. All of a sudden they're on holiday, they're all drinking loads and they're doing this, they're doing that. These are my Indian friends, by the way. I was the only Muslim guy there. So they're all drinking loads, this and that, and I'm like, right, because you guys are really loud and that. You're in another country and that. Like, you guys are never this loud in London. If you look, do you know what I mean? Like, geez, what's going on? Like, and that's what I kind of thought that when people are abroad, they're like really animated, they're happy. Maybe sometimes they might do something silly or get too excited or whatever because they're abroad. And I've noticed that people that come here, it's like they have like this holiday mentality, and part of that is like almost like they feel like laws don't apply to them anymore because they're in another country. Because look, I've got a lot of friends that are born here, not born here as well. One Sri Lankan guy. Again, look, he's like generally quite quiet and that. But here, he's like chatting to women, like talking to women in the street, going up to them, just like this and stuff. Like, look, could you not do this, please? He goes, oh, why not? Don't tell man how to roll in it. If you don't like how man rolls, fuck off in it. He's saying to me and that. I go, look, bruv, this is inappropriate. You can't just go up to women randomly and that, like in the middle of the street when we're on our way to go do something, right? Yeah. He goes, no. I go, look, bro, listen, are you on something and that? Like, I was like, look, bro, you've been doing this kind of because it's not acceptable. You can't do this. I go, look, fair enough if we're in a clubbing setting or a party setting and you want to do that, I wouldn't say nothing to you. Like, you're just bothering people on the road and that, and then fucking, he kept doing it and then someone called the cops on him. Like, I fucking told you. Like, I mean, you, like I said to him, look, you wouldn't do this in Sri Lanka. He goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? I go, look, you're only doing this because you think England's a free, fair site. I go, you go up there and go chat to girls all over the road and each street and cross the road and chat to another girl and do all this and walk for another half a mile and chat to other group of girls. You do this in Sri Lanka, watch what happens to you.
I think it's kind of like an ex of mine was from Italy and she had a very Italian accent. And I asked her one day, what language does she think in? And she said that it depends where she is and who she's with. And I think that there are a lot of people coming here who aren't doing that. They're not adapting the way that they think. They're not adapting their vision of the world. So she would adapt her thoughts to language depending on contexts. And I don't think that many of the immigrants are necessarily doing that. They're trying to retain what they've got and they think that we should change. And people are surprised when we're saying, no, fuck that.
Jake, listen, what's happening? Yeah, they're turning up here, cap in hand, without a pot to piss in, winging it. Even what you're saying is a bit too much thought, bruv, for them. Right? They're just coming to know, let's see what fucking happens. Do you know what I mean? That's what they think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's not even calculated like that in capacity. Not even to like, oh, why don't they think like this? That whole point of like, Why don't we think like that whole thing of why don't we think like this, and then going on to an explanation of trying to maybe reset your parameters a bit before you enter another country, bruv. These things ain't gonna enter these idiots' heads. It's not in their capability, bruv. Do you know what I mean? They're just gonna turn up here.
Bobby, thank you so much for recognizing this, because this is what the British people have a big gripe with, is the fact that if it was us doing something, you guys would be the first to call it out. But when it's you guys doing something, you don't call it out. And you're calling it out. And I've got a lot of respect for that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I think the only thing is, look, we have like a lot of Muslim speakers, and some of them get a lot of the airwaves, right? And you know, there are parts of what some of them what say is good, but then some of it can be a bit offensive, yeah, you know, as well. But my issue is that too many of one type of people have got the airwaves. If that makes sense, they've kind of captured the market for themselves.
The loud number.
So it's just like, so let's wait for what these guys are saying, the Dawa gang or this crew or that crew, and it's like everyone's, you know, it's almost like, no, you're not the only way to kind of guide people, if that makes sense. You're not the only people with an explanation.
They've actually done a lot of damage to the credibility that Islam could have had in the West.
100%. And that's the thing, and that's exactly what I've said to them.
Doing Dawa.
But listen, that's exactly what I've said to them. That's exactly what I've said to them when I've had brief like brushings with them, and that, like, I don't know them directly because some of them are a little bit funny with me, like, because, you know, obviously I go to the mosques and that, so they do see me, they know who I am, they know I'm a little bit about and that. But then I went over to them a couple of times about 4 years ago or something like that, just after lockdown, to try to speak to them about problems in our society and community, and they just turned around to me and said, like, oh, my brand doesn't cover those subjects. That's what they said to me. Like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about employment here, about Muslims being unemployed and our reputation going in the mud here, and Muslims' reputations going in the mud here, because I'm really concerned about this, right? And then they're like, oh yeah, but they're more concerned about doing their promotion the way they want to do it, right? Right. So I was just like, look, we kind of need to readjust the balance here a bit. And they weren't really too interested. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, like the damage point, yeah. So I did say this to them, said, look, man, because you don't actually understand the culture here and rubbing things in people's faces, a religion or whatever, yeah, because it's never really been a thing here. I guess then you lot are coming here and rubbing religion in people's faces, because like people don't like it here, whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on their door, Mormons, they don't like anyone like doing this kind of thing here, right? Because it's almost like you guys didn't get the memo, yeah. And they're like, oh well, we want to do the things, you know, like as in basically, yeah, we can fragment this in so many ways. But the main point is I did say to them that, look, man, do you not think you're actually doing good here? Like, because you're doing more damage by kind of making it look like we're at each other's throats when each time you put a video on the internet. And I think there has been a little bit of a recognition from Ali Hijab and them lot, Hijab and that, Mohammed Hijab, sorry. I think there's been a bit of very calm tone down a bit. Yeah, well, I think he's realised that that he might have come across a bit confrontational and that. I think he's even mentioned it a few times.
Have you seen the video of Hijab recently? Obviously, God Logic and him had a whole thing where they did a live. Both sides said that they could put it on their platform, so they did. And when God Logic put it on his, he copyright struck it. Well, it's now gone to, they're going to take it to court. God Logic's going to take it to court, and he's going to sue Hijab. Well, Hijab's already bankrupt because of Douglas Murray, so God knows how that's going to go for him. Moving on, Hijab had an absolute meltdown with another guy sat next to him, and he was being really nasty towards his own society, calling he was basically enraged that God Logic had managed to more than double the GoFundMe that he put up within a couple of days, and no one was raising money for hijab, and he absolutely lost it. It's on YouTube.
Yep. But I think my friend actually mentioned that to me yesterday when one of the ones I was telling you, he mentioned something. I goes to him, send me the video. I think it reminds me. I think this must be the same video. So if someone's got to send me that. I did that
Really
ask him about
nasty,
it.
like calling you lot
But see
idiots.
the hijab on these guys. I think the mistake hijab and these guys made, right? And they did have a chance to help with this, right? Is to kind of allow people like me to come on their platform and say, look, man, this is kind of like how English people kind of think and the culture and stuff like this, and have that kind of balance of Muslim views. But look what I'm doing. I'm on here with you guys.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like,
Maybe,
wouldn't it even be
maybe
and them that was smart, they would have said, look, let's get Bob's on our side, because he kind of has this way of kind of seeing things through, the eyes of English culture, let's say, or whatever, right? And let's use this and let's see, if it can help. Like, do they actually want to help and make things better, or do they want to make it more confrontational? I don't know what their end goal is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So
I don't
really,
think
look,
they
you guys have given me the chance. You see what I mean? You guys have given me the chance. How come they ain't free Muslim guys?
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't
point.
think they even know themselves, Bobby, because their behaviour is quite erratic, which would suggest they don't even know their own position.
Right. And this kind, you see this erratic thing? It's a very kind of London kind of, how can I explain it? This ghetto kind of London element. Do you see what I mean? Right. And I kind of don't always get on with that kind of side of people that are like that in London. They have this kind of, like I said, that kind of slightly rough kind of way of doing things.
Yeah.
But I was just saying something about, look, you guys allowed me to come on and speak, right? And I'm thankful for that. But you see, like, look, I've got Muslims, don't you? You guys must think Bob must know thousands of Muslims, hundreds of Muslims, and none of them let me on their platforms.
Yeah.
Do you see? So when you lot say, "Oh, brothers," and you lot got some big dirty plan to get us something, and it's not really like that, because these bastards don't even like me. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's because
I do respect that, and
you, Bobby. That's why.
Yeah, and I do always feel kind of conscious of the fact that it is a bit unfair that we try and focus all of the problems of Islam onto you, and we hope that you don't feel that we're doing that.
No, that's fine. Shall I tell you what, man? What would be good from this is if, like, these buggers that always refuse me jobs and that, and said, "Oh, you look a bit inconfident. Oh, you look a bit like, oh, you need to get out of your shell more, Bobby." And all these people, oh, your face don't fit. I want them to see that, nah, man, my face does fit. I can speak to people. I can communicate to people. I can, and that's what they're scared of. I think they're more scared of what we're capable of. And then they'll say that we're stupid and we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're talking about. That's why we're not going to give you a platform. We're not going to give you a job. We're not going to give you this and that, because
maybe
we
that's
just
your
don't like.
calling, Bobby. Maybe your calling is to go out there and speak the way that you're speaking, and try and get people from both sides to come around to your way of thinking. Go on different platforms and put your message out there.
Yeah, I think you guys even mentioned people like Ben Habib and that. Look, Ben Habib, he could open up his book and say, look, why can't I take on someone like Bob's and bring him on my camp?
Yeah.
If there's like a British Muslim identity, maybe I can bring other people in like-minded. But they won't do it. They won't share their platform. They're all going to fall foul of the same thing. The Dawa gang could have shared their platform and said, look, let's bring in this slightly more open Islamic way of thinking that's not so confrontational with English people and Christianity. Let's bring that element in. Like, hijab could have used that and said, look, I don't want this image to be of me being this hardcore guy being like this, so I brought Bob's in. Bob's got this kind of way of thinking. Maybe he can help us readjust the balance a bit. No one's thinking like that. They're just thinking, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, and you're you know what I mean? And that's it. Like, even Ben Habib, he's been moaning that, oh shit, man, that he's kind of like a little bit sometimes left on his own here and that. But he could open his platform and say, look, I need a bunch of Asian guys, Muslim guys that kind of think a bit along my way, right? And let me bring them in, and strengthen my base. They won't do it. TV channels won't do it. Piers Morgan wouldn't have someone like me on. Do you see what I mean? You'll have Tommy on. You'll say, oh, Tommy, come on, this and that. Yeah, but people like me have got a degree in that. You're not letting me on. I've got a degree. When they said Tommy hasn't got a degree, he's unrefined, he's uneducated, and I've got a fucking degree. Let me on then, innit? Like, because what it was in this country is like, oh, if you're qualified, you got a degree in that, then you can do kind of like what you want. People won't talk down to you. But when you're working class, you go and get a degree, they're still talking down to you.
People
You
talk
know what I mean?
down
It's still
to you all the time.
Yeah, this is what's pissed me off, man. So I don't even know whether it's I'm working class or whether I'm Muslim or I've got bad luck here. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still trying to work that out. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just
Bobby,
one
at
thing.
least you're trying. Sorry, Jake. Go on.
Sorry?
Mate.
I'm just one thing, which is myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one thing I would say to yourself, Bobby, is what will gain respect from the British is more people like you from your religion.
Yeah.
You know, re-educating Muslims in the West to be more westernized, because that's the only way they're going to fit in. We don't want, you know, if we wanted to live like that, then we'd immigrate to your countries, wouldn't we? Right?
Yeah.
So,
I think this whole element of English people being our enemy, Christians being our enemy, and that this needs to be really resolved. Because like I said, my upbringing of the different faiths mixing, okay, it's not always been roses. I know that, right? But the choices of what people, different religions and that have made, you know, over the years, outside of when these prophets exist, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever, those humans obviously made decisions and that on behalf of whatever they thought they were doing, yeah, which is God knows what, yeah. But as far as I'm concerned here, that we've got to, you know, just get rid of that, oh, we're all enemies, and then kind of go back to that we can all, you know, believe in believe in the country and believe in a God, or even if it's separate ways of reaching that same God and living in harmony. Really, that's all I really wanted, to be honest. But like I said, some Muslims may not have that same intention. They may think, oh, you know, I can't speak for everyone. Maybe there is I'm not saying maybe, there probably is a element of, oh, let's take over, and that small element. But I really don't think it's that bad. It's more of like a pipe dream, crack dream. Do you know what I mean? More of a crack pipe dream, to be honest. If they think that that's going to happen. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, look, other Muslims talking like me, to be honest, a lot of them are scared people. Like, generally being able to even just speak to people, speak to strangers, and that they're just not good at it. I'll tell you one way I got around it. Yeah, you see, when I was in university doing my graphics arts course, animation course thing, my teacher said to me, he goes, "Oh, Bobs, you're kind of quiet and that." He goes, "But your work's really good." Because I'd really it really add a lot if you used to speak up and that a lot more and speak about your work and stuff like this. I was like, oh shit. And I, as a student, sometimes I was kind of a little bit of that kind of guy that just wanted to just do my work and go home. No one notices too much. Do you know what I mean? Keep your head clean, nose clean, out of trouble and all that. Yeah. But he goes, no, you should really, be a huge contribution if you did it and that. And I goes, oh, I don't really like talking that. And he goes, Bobby, didn't you tell me you're a really good salesman for curries, electronics and that? I goes, yeah. Because that means you must be talking to strangers all the time. Because yeah, I actually do. So why don't you just think like you're in curries and just speak to people, speak and do a presentation like that? Because you're actually right. Because I speak to strangers all the time. Even though, obviously I only got stronger and stronger as a car showroom worker, car salesman worker, car showroom manager for Lexus and stuff like this. Yeah, I thought that's right. I can speak to strangers. I can speak to an audience of people I don't know, and I can do it. A lot of Asians don't have this skill. My ex-girlfriend, she wouldn't have the skill to come on here, right, and speak to all of you guys as people she doesn't know too well. Like, I know a lot of people, Asian people, haven't got the balls to just speak to strangers. They just can't do it.
I think
that's just an Asian culture, whether Muslim, Hindu, or what. They're not good at speaking to people off the cuff.
I think that might.
That's true, actually. I know this with the girls. That's where you need the pretty Patels and the Rishi Sunaks that have had that drilling and private school training. Then it's like, oh look, we've got a product that can actually work in that mold. But I've got that without their fucking money and their training. You see, what my point is, I've been a manager for a Lexus showroom, chatting to millionaires, sold cars, still flipping all kinds of people, actors, filmmakers. Elon Musk even came into my showroom and shook my hand and sat in my car with me. Do you know what I mean? Back in 2007. Yeah, I met Elon Musk. Back in 2007 when I was a manager for Lexus. When I tell people that, oh, you're making it up. I came home that day telling my mum, guess who I met today? Because I met Elon Musk. No one knew who he was that time. My mum, obviously my mum's old fashioned. But I thought my mum might have known because she's always got the TV on.
I go, Mum, do you know that guy that, you know, sometimes, because we would watch Top Gear and stuff and car programs, she'd be in the room. So and my mum didn't know who it was. My sister didn't know who it was. Oh, yeah. And then I told my girlfriend, and I goes, oh, yeah, this guy, Elon, he's coming to my showroom. I was all excited and that. But no one knew who he was then. But obviously all the computer guys and the car guys would kind of know who these Steve Jobs type of people, Bill Gates type of people, you know, the technology type of nerds like myself. We kind of knew who these people were, right? In the background. So yeah, so I met him, he sat in my car, we had a great time. But even then, when he met me, my manager didn't like it. Like when he was talking to me and sitting with me, it's like my manager's getting really funny about him talking to me and that. Like, and he kept trying to make me go away from him. Yeah, so like even stuff like that. But look, what I'm saying is like, I'm not scared to talk to people or talk to the public. I'm not scared of getting a bit of a bad reputation or a backlash. It doesn't bother me more because I've been through bad shit my whole life. Do you know what I mean? I've been through a rough time my whole life here. So I'm thinking, nothing can really affect me now. That's why do you think I come on it? Do you know what I mean? I suppose I'm in a unique. Yeah, I'm in a unique position as well in certain ways.
All of us have been
because someone that lives in it as I do wouldn't openly talk like this unless they're brave enough. Do you know what I mean?
We're all still here. We've all been through very difficult things, and
yeah,
it's not a game of comparison or anything.
Like how you like saying about backlash, let's say from Asians or this and that. I think a lot of these people, even though I'm Muslim, they're Muslim on certain personal levels or certain things. They kind of burnt bridges with me already anyway. Yeah. So they can't now come to me and say that, you've been saying this and you've been saying that. I go, look, you lot had your fucking chance to talk to me. I came to you lot first. Do you know what I mean? See my point? I came to my Muslim community first and asked about certain issues, certain problems, jobs, crimes, whatever, gang behavior, all this and that. You lot turned your nose up at it. So, you had your chance. So don't come in here now and try to give me grief. Do you know what I mean? You lot weren't grown up enough to talk about these things. Yeah, and they won't now anyway, because from before they. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of these people they'll just find uncomfortable to come towards and talk to in the first place. Like a lot of Asians, they find me uncomfortable to talk to. So it's like chalk and cheese a bit.
Well, I would say that just a quick point. You mentioned about that a lot of Muslims struggle to, interact with these sorts of conversations or just generally talk to strangers in general. I would actually suggest that that's actually far more universal to all of us, because I, as a person, find it very easy to talk to someone if I've got a reason to talk to them, right? I wouldn't just be able to, if I was to go out to a club, I wouldn't just be able to randomly approach someone and start talking to them because there's no initial need to talk to them. There's no reason for that conversation to start, unlike here. So I think maybe that might be one of the reasons that we struggle to just interact in those sorts of ways.
I personally am quite quiet, prefer to, my own company, that sort of thing. And I had to physically learn how to do public things, and the two things really, really helped with that. The first was music. So when I was at school, I was used to performing in front of people. It didn't bother me in the slightest. And the second thing was the actual teaching side of things, because you go in there and you act a particular part. And the very first time I stood in front of a class and said, be quiet, and they actually did it, then I thought, yes, I've got this. And from doing that, I had to learn how to speak to various different types of people, like the kids. I had to learn how to speak to parents from all different types of backgrounds. And it really did help in that regard. And I think it helped to bring a lot out of me and my character as well, that perhaps otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do. And obviously that helps as well with coming on and talking to people on here.
Yeah, same for me, Jake.
People should, if you're in the chat and you ever feel like you've got something to say, don't be afraid of coming up and saying it. The first time you do it, it's difficult, but you'll get used to it and it will be easier, and it might make you feel more confident. And just as an aside here, I was just mentioning with Robert there about how I'd very much like to go to the States at some point. So if there are any American ladies in the chat who would like to give me a green card, get in touch.
You're not allowed. You're working class.
Country. I love it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed. You have to put down a property as a guarantor, and you have to put down your parents as a guarantor for 50,000. Then you can get into another country.
Jesus, I don't think
people find it uncomfortable. How it really works.
Yeah, I know.
You know, when I tried to apply for jobs in the EU, you know what they said to me? Like, people, like, I'm not gonna say which people. They took me in an office, and they said to me, like, why do you keep applying for jobs in the EU? They say, yeah, you do know, yeah. Even though we have freedom of movement, you can't just go to Europe. You can only use freedom of movement if you have a job. So you can't go there unemployed. Do you know that?
Yeah, and that's right.
They can come here unemployed. We can't go there unemployed.
But like
a lot of people don't know this. Well, we're not part of the EU now, but this is
any American women who can give me a green card, I'm fine with that. That would be good. I don't mind a marriage of convenience. It's fine.
America. The great America. Coming to America, hey? Oh, man. That one staled as well for me. So, yeah. So, I don't know. What else can we discuss? Anything else we can speak about?
Not
after 3 hours and 50 minutes, I think. Like, you know,
I've never done such a long life.
Yeah, I didn't realise the time. I think Jake put in the chat 3.5 hours. I was like, oh, he's taking the piss. And I looked and went, oh, no, it's 3.5 hours.
The longest
like,
life.
holy shit, mate.
Never done one
How
this long.
quick?
It's gone quickly, though.
Yeah,
Really?
it's flown by. I didn't realise. I was like, holy crap. Because it's just, you know, I get to actually sit here and listen instead of having to listen to my own bloody voice, which is nice. So
yeah,
it's all good. But
good.
what's tomorrow? Monday. I might do a couple of news stories and then open it up for people because I want to start doing a bit more of the opening it up for call-ins. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think one a week's not enough, is it? Do you know what I mean? And I'm doing Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, so one or both could potentially be call-ins, and the other one would be like a review show. So I think that's what I'm going to do as well. So it's going to be cushy.
If you get the opportunity, Wiz, can you please review the video of hijab breakdown?
Yeah, I wanted to do some videos like because of him, but I'm worried that he'll end up copyrighting me like he did the others. And if I get copyrighted, it's a 7-day ban.
Yeah, but that's more the big channels that he's aware of have the numbers. Little channels, I obviously don't want to be offensive, but 6,700 compared to, you know, God Logic's got millions of subscribers, I think. I don't know if it is millions, but he's got at least 1 million subscribers, I think. A channel like his, he's definitely going to go after copyright, but smaller channels, he's not even going to know you're on the radar, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully. But I mean,
can you get away with using still pictures?
Oh, I don't know.
One fun thing I'd like to mention how it works, but sometimes you get away still pictures with just little bits of verbiage.
Oh yeah, God Logic's got 610,000.
Yeah. A still picture with no video, but you just have the audio of the video.
Yeah.
That way it can't be copyrighted because you're not taking his content. It's the audio, which is, I think, covered under fair usage for.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
I wanted to do some videos on hijab and Ali Dawa.
But I have some good news though for the Wizards channel and the positive effect that it's having on society is that I have spent about the last 6 weeks researching, and I started writing a book this morning about what we discussed at length on here one evening, the incident at Rendlesham, and I have got a radically new interpretation of it based on declassified CIA files that I have found hundreds of, and it is, when I explain it, it will blow your mind. Now,
sounds interesting. Jake, Wiz, I'm going to come off because my phone's boiling up, and I'm going to finish watching on YouTube when I go and see what you guys are going. I'm going to finish watching on YouTube, and then I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Anything else?
Yeah. All right, mate. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries.
Just
We will be.
So thank you so much for your honesty and your cooperation in having a conversation. It's these sorts of conversations that are going to make things better for Muslims in this country. So thank you.
And for coming
Yeah,
back.
let's hope so.
We appreciate it.
Let's hope so, guys.
100%.
God bless you.
Take care of yourself, Bobby.
Yeah, God bless, mate. Take it easy, mate.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
I think I'm going to follow the same route as Bobby. I've got an absolutely pounding headache and I feel really sweaty and disgusting. So I'm going to jump off now as well. But
yeah, no worries. It's all good. It's all good.
Thanks to everyone in chat again. Thanks to you, Wiz, again for holding these conversations.
No worries.
Yeah,
Jake, I'll catch you about, mate.
Yes, you too, Ace. It's always good to have a discussion, and I think it's really, really good that they've got this platform here where we can talk about such a wide range of things with an increasingly wider range of people as well. It's really, really a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Take it easy.
Take care in the chat. I'm going to go and smoke off, play some loud rock.
Don't blame you, mate. Don't blame you. So enjoy it. Happy days. There we go. How cool was that, though? 3 hours and 54 minutes. And there's me saying, oh, I won't do this and I won't do that. It's a hot day. You all want to do this and that. And I've kept you here for how long? My bad. My bad. But anyway, I'm back tomorrow at 1. Happy days. And don't forget, Tuesday and Thursdays, 7 p.m. now. Why not? Might as well have a few more streams, haven't we? Happy days. So thanks to every single one of you in chat. I appreciate all of you being here and listening and commenting, and I'm trying to put them all up like I do, I try to, so you get to have your say in that. It's been a pleasure. So Trigger Christian, Mr. Waffle, Olga, Helen, Slim, Pouncy, everyone who I forgot. There's Dizzy for Jesus in there somewhere. I saw her, but yeah, and Robert. Obviously, let's not forget Robert. And thanks for the super chat, Robert. I appreciate it. So, and Pouncy's in there. Can't forget the mods, can we? But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Hopefully, we're not sweating to death. But for now, ladies and gents, that is the Wizard's words.